King, Mike in the Night, and the Gemini crew. Ooh.
Another turn,
'cause you're here with us tonight. Everything's alright when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Giving the world light when you're here with Mike in the night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night.
Sometimes things are just absurd, so let's just talk about the world.
'Cause you're here with us tonight. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike
in the night.
Let's just talk
about the world. Give this page another curl.
'Cause you're here with us tonight.
Oh yeah, people of the night. Welcome to Mike in the Night. I bid you all good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. It is I, Mike Martins. Thanks for tuning in. Whether you the date today is the 5th of May. Sorry, the 30th of May, 2020. Sorry, I'm reading it month, year, whatever. It is the 30th of May, 2020. Almost smack dab halfway through the year. Whether you're watching us from your condo in the sky, your bug out location, or your couch surfing, or you're watching us from a semi-detached home outside in a rural part, or you're just bugging out. Welcome to Mike in the Night. Sit back, recline your chair, crack open a window if your neighbor's not mowing the lawn at 2 in the morning, and crack open some bubbly water, maybe grab yourself a tea, spark up a candle, because you're tuned in to Mike in the Night. And I want to thank everyone for joining us, and I want to thank everybody that goes out of their way to create a pile of accounts to dislike this video. Thank you so much for that. That's phenomenal. Someone has so much energy to go out and do something like that. Haters will be haters, right? Anyways, a big thank you to everybody already in the lobby. It only shows I got 4 people watching the show right now on my dashboard here. YouTube does that. I don't know why. Because I'm not a real channel. I guess what they do is they don't want to put or pull proper information to fake channels like mine. Okay, let's go over to the comments real quick before we get into today's news. We got Eamon saying, I got chips, pop, cheese, moose meat, laying on the sofa. That's right. Spark a candle. That's right, guys. And we got Pergrosso, we got Axel Rose, we got Blunt News in the house. Who else we got in here? Steven Sewell, Owen. Yeah, baby, Owen. We got Low Roller Scratcher, of course. The good old Low Roller Scratcher. Mitch Madden. Wow, Anthony Rev Vubacabla in the house. Big time tonight for Mike in the Night. Okay, guys, so obviously we're seeing a lot of despair, a lot of looting, a lot of uneasiness, and this happens. This happens all the time. If you guys weren't around then, but they had, if you guys remember, I think it was 91, 92, we had the Los Angeles riots, and that went on for quite a bit. You get civil unrest in every country almost every country in the world except Canada and Australia. Yeah, Canada is the only country where docile sheep, the land of docile sheep, Canada. So we got Wow, the comments are flying by. No, there's a lot of conservatives. There's lots of us out here in Canada that's trying to figure out what the identity of the country is or where the country is headed, right? So, yeah. So you're tuned in to a Mike in the Night. Look at that. And big thanks to a group down in South Carolina. I've been watching the show. Send me a big tip on PayPal. I'm like, holy crap! You don't. Oh no, Mike. We've been watching you for like 4 years now. It's like, okay, well, thank you. I mean, you don't have to. I already got my computer fixed. I got my green screen. I got everything I need, and that's why I took down my Patreon account. I don't need it anymore. Okay, so let's go over to a quick plug of the show, and then we're gonna move on to bigger, and we're going to move on to the news before we get a few calls in for tonight's show. So let's go to article scan. Guys, okay, here, let's start here. Guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. A lot of people are getting unsubscribed from the channel all the time. It is what it is, guys. I'm not going to fight the algorithm. There's no point. Channels like this don't exist. Original content creators don't exist. They do exist. We're here, but to the big spotlight, we don't exist. So here we go. We got Mike in the Night here. Lizard Mixture, you're watching tonight. Don't forget to tune in and set your reminders for all these. Okay. And if you want to hear past shows, there's tons of Mike in the Nights here, going back almost 2 years of Mike in the Nights here, and then Trends in the Housing Markets here. So if you guys want to call into the show also and be part of the show, go ahead and buy something on Teespring. I want to thank somebody that came in and bought a bunch of t-shirts. Somebody came in and bought 12 hoodies, bought 12 of these hoodies of Mike in the Night. I'm not sure, it's a nice hoodie though, but I guess somebody came in and picked this up. It's a really nice hoodie, Mike in the Night. And the front's got the, right there, Mike in the Night. And also, guys, I'm going to give you guys my Facebook. If you guys want to follow me here on Facebook and send me show tips, go ahead and send me some show tips. You're welcome to. And I'm going to give you guys my Instagram. I really don't go on this thing, but I do get show tips on here. So I do get people sending me show tips. You're more than welcome to come on Instagram and follow me too. And I really don't post on there, so you won't be seeing too much of me, but you could message me on here if you need to, okay? And guys, don't forget to go to wildgamesports.com. If you like hunting and fishing, go check it out. I promise you, it's actually worth your time. I made all these videos here, and hopefully this company will take off soon. It's a hunting and fishing application, so if you guys want, check it out, okay, guys? If you like hunting and fishing, go there, wildgamesports.com. All right, so it is Mike in the Night, Saturday night, guys. There's so much going on, guys. So much going on in my own life too, but I'm trying to keep it kosher, keep it on track, I want a kiss life. Kiss. Keep it simple, stupid. That's the type of life I want. I want a kiss life. That's it. I want the rest of I'm 42. I want the rest of my life to be kiss. Okay, so we got all kinds of people here. We got Cody Z, we got Eamon in the house, we got Metal Gear Mark III Tignim, Papa Pist in the house, and okay, Living the Dream's asking me, is there any demonstration in Merritt today? Unfortunately, no, well, there's not. It's Canada again. It's the land of docile sheep. The land of. Okay, we got the Raven in the house. We got the Raven in the house. Raven, I'm going to send you a code on your Skype. If you want to send me that code back, I'll give you back your wrench. I need to make sure that's you, though. That's the problem. So, Raven, if you want to send me that code, please go ahead. You just don't thumb it up. Just send it back inside the comment section so I know it's you. Okay, guys. Let's get over to some news. Everybody, well, I mean, if you're living under a rock, then, and I'm going to be really frank with you guys. I'm going to be straight up. I'm going to be straight up here. I honestly, wholeheartedly, yeah, here we go. Aniki just threw it out there right now. Aniki. That's my girl in way north of Sydney there in Eastern Australia saying, hey, Mike, looks like many have reached the point of nothing to lose, so rioting gives purpose. Yeah. when the people have nothing to lose and they can't push back. I said that on the show. I didn't make it up because I got that from the movie Too Fast, Too Furious when they were having that meeting. When they were having that meeting, and they said that I'm just messaging Raven here to put that in the YouTube chat. Yeah, I'm messaging the Raven here, but no. Been saying it for years. When the people have nothing to lose, I'll even put up that clip so you guys. It doesn't flag my channel for some weird reason. I've played it many times. So we're going to play that clip a little bit later to show you guys what I'm trying to say here. So we got lots of people in the comments now. A lot of new faces here in the comments. Lots of new faces in the comments. Woo! I love it. Okay, guys, let's get on to some news before we kick off some callers to call in and tell us what's going on in their neck of the woods. All right, article scan, please. Maybe Mike in the night scan here. Now we'll do an article scan here. All right, let's do this, guys. Let's stretch it out so you guys can see what the heck I'm talking about here. Because I got a grade 4 reading level, so it's better that I get, you guys can see it too, right? Okay, there's the Raven. We know it's the Raven. There's too many fake accounts going on, and we don't even know who is who. I got like 100 Supreme Canon accounts on here. Okay, here goes, guys. Watch live. Riots erupt from coast to coast. Curfew imposed. Stores looted. DC activates National Guard. So, civil unrest. It happens. It happens in every country except Australia and Canada. That's just how it is. Every country in the planet. Like, even little islands have, like, little Banana Republic islands have civil unrest. Where presidents have to take off on helicopters and planes and private jets, you know, because they run away with the country's money. You know what I'm saying? This is absolutely no longer about George Floyd or addressing the inequities anymore. This is an organized attack designed to destabilize civil society. Yeah. Okay, I can understand the Apple Store taking a beating, because a lot of people hate Apple. But I mean, come on, guys. Burning cars. Come on. Seriously? The largest ever... It's going to be replaced. Everything has to be replaced. Someone's going to pay for it. It all tracks back to the middle class in the end. It all tracks back to the poor guy. So, like think about it. They're going to have to rebuild infrastructure. Who do they go after? They go after the taxpayers. Do the wealthy pay taxes? No, because they offset their capital gains with oh, I'm going to go buy a helicopter this week. Why? Because I owe $2 million in taxes to the government. I need a helicopter for my company, and I'm going to expense that so I don't have to pay the government back $2 million in taxes. The rich always find a way. You raise taxes, the rich always find a loophole to hedge against any capital gains. The average low ball, you know what I'm trying to say? The average guy like this, average Joe Donuts Miami guy walking around like a bum in town, we pay for it. We pay for it, SA. Insurance, yeah, insurance, but who pays the insurance in the end? Insurance premiums go up for the people that can't afford to pay it. Papa Pist sent me $2.79 Canadian. Who knew? Who knew the cure to COVID in the media was riots? Well, it was going to end up becoming like that if nothing was taken care of. The largest ever, this is a Lord Humongous story here, guys. The largest ever physical transfer of gold, oru, gold. Is silver next? That is the question. The largest ever. Okay, I'm going to open that on the side because I want to take a look at that. The mysterious missing link of anti-malaria drug and zinc. The mystery surrounds why the anti-malaria drug is not being tested as COVID treatment in combination with zinc, which doctors say is crucial for efficiency. They're never going to use what's going to work. They're going to want to find something that's not on the shelf that the average person can't go pick up. Why? So then this way you can't cure yourself if there's something really going on out there. They're never going to do that. Raven says, Mike, that's the wrong Raven. Well, I sure as hell that wasn't the wrong Raven, because we'd be in trouble tonight. Okay, did I give the wrench to the wrong Raven? Oh, man. No, I don't think I did. Yeah, there's a couple of there's a scammer out in Sydney, Australia that just keeps attacking the channel every which way possible. So I don't know. Anyways, here are all the New York City restaurants that have permanently closed during the COVID crisis. Lots of them closed, and that's middle class. Good luck feeding the public sector. Good luck feeding all those pencil-pushing jobs in the government. Like in Canada, it's a little bit different. In Canada, government jobs to learn English, and the Canadians, they don't get those jobs. That's more for people to learn English, be part of the government, and learn and stuff. Yes, Raven, I know it's you. I know someone's trying to do something. Someone's trying to create fake accounts all the time on the channel. Trump blasts outdated group of G7 countries. Postponed summit after Merkel rebuff will invite Russia back. America's allies, as well as national security state hawks, are going to flip, given especially the sensitivity of the Ukraine issue. America, one screen, two movies, three times the trouble. Cops and protesters banging heads while bankers sit home drinking wine with their newly printed Federal Reserve dollars, same as it ever was. Man, I love Tyler Durden here at Zero Hedge, man. Whew. My Dreamia is saying, is life worth living anymore? It sure as hell is worth living, buddy. My friend, it is sure as, oh man, is it ever. It's a gift. It's worth more than all the gold on the planet. Oh yeah. Yes, people are saying that Soros paid riots. Yeah, rich getting, well, though some of the wealthy got super wealthy during this whole pandemic. U.S. Army deploys elite trainers to help Colombia after cocaine production triples. See, now the U.S. is going to get their mitts into Colombia. They did with the CIA for many years, but now they're going in with elite trainers. What's an elite trainer? Is it a bra? I know there's a elite training bra. I'm not sure if that's what's an elite trainer. Is it a sniper? Is it somebody that could read like better than me? What is it? That's the question. The movie is also seen as a way to put pressure on Caracas. If you're not sure where Caracas is the capital of Venezuela. Northeast South America. Borders Colombia. I know Pablo Emilio Gaviria Escobar was one of the biggest exporters of drugs to the United States of America, one of the biggest drug consuming countries in the planet, the United States of America, and yeah, Minneapolis riots are a reminder that police don't protect you or your property. See, the police are to serve and protect. Remember, a lot of people get this misconception with the police. The police are public servants, right? They're not military. They're training as military, they're training as militia, and they're training with SWAT teams and all that stuff. That's to take down the guy that goes against the big guy, or that's the guy that goes against the competition, right? So we got Mitch Bannon says Lost Canucks said that the Nasera is supposed to happen in May. We got Juggernauts from Calgary just tuning in. Andrew Chrome Harass and collect. So we got Globetrotter Mike sending me messages here. All kinds of messages floating in. Guys, I received, I don't know, it's good. Couple of hundred Skype calls. I tried to get as many, I tried to get to as many as possible. You know, I got a couple of kids, so it's kind of hard to, and a wife. And it's kind of hard to, but I tried my best to be with you guys, always. I'm always trying to be with you guys, you know what I'm saying? Used car prices offer brief, is this an ad or is this garbage? Oh yeah, it's real. U.S. car prices offer brief. We got Blunt News calling in. I'll call you when I'm done, buddy. I'll call you when I'm done, my friend. Used car prices offer brief respite after plunging below forecasts last month. A closer look at taxpayer-funded COVID contractors reveals inexperienced fraud and a weapons dealer. There's apparently a lot of... damn, I should have had article scan on there. There's a lot of fake SIN numbers or numbers that are going around collecting this COVID money. And we're all going to pay it back eventually, some way, somehow, or my kids are going to have, or my grandkids are going to have to be paying that back, some way, somehow. Unless somebody out there wants to forgive the debt. Unless somebody up top wants to forgive the debt. So, let's keep going here. So there it goes. 2 months ago, when the market was at, okay, where's the gold move here? There's gold. Biggest flow. Okay, flows into New York are unprecedented. Global Commodities Director, where's this? Since March. Okay, here we go. Since late March, no less than 550 tons of gold worth $30 billion, and today's price and roughly equaling to the global mine output in the period have been added to COMOC's warehouse supplies. Hundreds of tons of that was important on its own, that the amount of gold would represent the 11th largest sovereign holding, larger than the EBC's official 504.8 tons of gold. So a lot of these numbers, guys, there's something wrong with these numbers. I could tell you straight up. Because I don't know how much gold the United States has. I know Italy's gold is at the bottom of the World Trade Center, the two towers. There's a lot of Italy's gold at the bottom of the World Trade Center. Okay, I don't know what France has for gold, but I know it's on paper. They have gold certificates. I know France has gold certificates. I don't know what they have in their reserves. China has Russia, China have real gold. Switzerland does. Probably Japan, India does for sure. Netherlands, I'm not sure. Turkey, I'm not too sure. Taiwan does for sure. Kazakhstan, Portugal. You see, Portugal, not too long ago, had the 4th or 5th biggest gold reserve. Oh, no, maybe the sixth biggest gold reserve on the planet, with just around 382 tons of gold, right? Oh, okay, it has the highest percentage of reserves for the size of the country. So it's got the third, it would be the second or third biggest reserve for the country in percentage-wise, in percentage of reserves. And so it would be, because of the size of the country and the population, that's the, okay, I see what they're saying here. So it would be third biggest in the world. Percentile per so it would have the highest, the second highest, if the United States isn't lying about their gold numbers and Germany isn't lying. I know Germany's gold is in the United States, and I know Germany's been asking for their gold back for the last 15 years, right? And it's fallen on deaf ears. I'm not sure if the IMF really has. The IMF could have gold, but they're just buying it with fiat currency. Italy's gold is in the bottom of the Twin Towers. I know it is. And I know they've made videos showing the Italian gold reserves, but apparently that came down as staged. And it was some Switzerland gold reserve that they were using for Italy. It was really weird. And back in the 90s, they actually admitted that was staged. And it's still on YouTube. You could watch it. So, all right, we got some, the company, the Alphabet. Okay, SpaceX becomes the first private firm to launch humans into orbit. That's good. Minnesota government Tim Walz tries to calm Minneapolis after days of chaos following George Floyd's killing. Minnesota's political faith community leaders plead for the end of the riots. Target now closing more stores across Minnesota until further notice. I bet you that a lot of them don't even reopen. They're not even profitable. It's not even being... Retail's not even being profitable anymore, to be honest with you guys. Minneapolis overwhelmed again by protesters. Okay, nobody cares about this. To stay or go, meet the Hong Kong protesters who fled to Canada to seek asylum. So Canada and Australia, I already told you guys this on 2 trends in the housing markets ago, 2. That I knew Canada and Australia was going to go on the side of Hong Kong because China's finished and Chinese wealth will no longer be coming to the Commonwealth to buy out our properties. What's going to happen is the countries now are going to compete fighting over Hong Kong wealth. Who could Australia get more in? Could Canada get more in? Because all these countries in the Commonwealth are having a struggling housing crisis. The locals that live in the country can't afford to buy a house, even if they had 5 jobs. They couldn't buy a house. The locals in these major cities, like Canadian proper, could never compete against wealth coming in from Asia from the last 15 years. Where was I? And Canada, US, UK, Australia jointly reprimand China over Hong Kong scrutiny law. Now, let me tell you guys a little secret. Now, I'm not pro-China, right? China, right here, look. Right there, China. I'm not pro-China. I hate the whole communist concept. I hate the whole communist regime, the whole communist idea. It's a bunch of garbage, okay? But let me tell you something. I'll tell you something. Macau, Portuguese China, implemented this same law about a decade ago, and not a single stone was thrown in Macau. Not a single thing was out of, you know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to become pro or saying the Chinese are putting this in and this and that and the Hong Kong is overreacting. I'm not trying to say that. I'm trying to say in Portuguese China, in Macau, they passed the same law. The same law they're enacting. Not a single stone was thrown. So I kind of want to throw that out there to get you guys you guys to understand this. So if they want to leave, fine, but who's going to get all the wealth, right? Who's it going to come to? The Canadian government is pushing, and the Canadian government is going against the communist Chinese, which was a huge, that was enormous. It was phenomenal. I couldn't believe the Canadian. I'm like, wow, why is he doing this? What's the motive? That's the motive. Oh, Australia weighed in. They want some of that Hong Kong money. Woo! All right, guys, you are tuned in to Mike in the Night. Let's see if we can get somebody to call in. I got messages piling in from somebody just sent me an article. It was Globetrotter Mike. Oh, here we go. It's from Globetrotter Mike just sent me this. Here it is, guys. Let's take our planet back. The United Nations New World Order Project is a global high-level initiative founded in 2008 to advance. Let me get the article scan here. Here it is, guys. It's not the law of the jungle. This is not the law of the jungle. This is the law of the land. Remember when George Walker Bush stood up in the United Nations way back? I think it was in the really late, early 90s, where a new world order that every country has something to gain from it. And it sounds like a good deal, but no. Let's take our planet back. From who? Who's got our planet? Did the guy stop messaging me on Skype? I'm getting overburdened here. I'm getting like 12 messages a minute here. Who's got control of this planet? Is it the Decepticons that we have to take it back from? Or is it the banks we have to take it back from? This is going to entrench us even further into a lot more problems, basically. A lot more deeper problems that we're going to have to wind back. How are you going to wind this back? You tell me. Okay, yeah, Anthony Ravubacabla just put a comment in the comments. He made sense. The Canadian in Canada, we did have a right for hockey. We did. But we don't have a right to actually stop foreign investors from coming in and buying out our country from our middle class. We don't have that, right? So here it is, guys. Let's take our planet back. Okay, let's read this again now that I have it on article scan. The United Nations New World Order Project is a global high-level initiative founded in 2008 to advance a new economic paradigm, okay, a new political order, and a political order. We have already... So what are we going to have? We're going to have a mayor. Then we're going to have a governor from the province or the state. Then we're going to have a president. Then we're going to have a North American leader for North America that represents the 3 countries in North America. Then we're going to have a world leader, or a continental leader, then a world leader. How many layers of government do we need to answer to, or that's going to control us? A new political order, and more broadly, a new world order for humankind. What the hell? That's not politically correct. It's people-kind. Which achieves the UN's global goals for sustainable development by 2030 and the happiness, well-being, and freedom of all life on Earth by 2050. Well, the good news is I probably won't be alive in 2050. I'm just calling a spade here. I'm 42. So that's the good part, but my kids. I'm worried about my kids. That's what I'm worried about here. So we got BC Matrix. Guys, please do not, and if you call into the show, please do not provoke violence, guys. I understand that a lot of people are upset. I understand that. I understand that there's a lot going on right now. I get it. I'm getting it. I'm here with you guys. I'm on your team. You know what I'm saying? I'm with you. You know what I'm saying? You got 23 good summers left, Mike. Yeah, 23 good summers. All right. Let's take this back here. Let's get... I got a video here from the Raven that I'm going to show you guys on Mike in the Night. I got a video here from the Raven. And I got to find it. It's on my desktop here. And Raven was at the rally today over at... so let's get that video up. Sorry, guys. I got a mess here on this desktop. I need more screens, man. Mike in the Night. People of the Night. Welcome to Mike in the Night. Oh, yeah. Where did I put that video? I just saw it. Oh, here we go. There we go. Let me just put it on this desktop here because Oops. It looks like another town, Edmonton. Yeah, that's in the province of Alberta, guys. If you guys are not too sure, the province of Alberta. There's a city called Edmonton. And we got them extending the lockdown for 90 days of some sorts, or another 120 days or 3 months. Not sure why. Because here in our province, we're not having this issue. We have this issue, but it's super low. All right, so let's put up the Raven video real quick. He took the time to make us this video.
Hey guys, this is Mark and Dean. We're at the Winnipeg Rally for Freedom here. What brings you guys out here today?
Well, we came out just to, show support and let people know how we feel about this whole lockdown nonsense, about how the government's treating us and how the government's acting to this, and yeah, just basically show support.
Your sign says "New Normal."
Yeah.
Do you agree with them repeating that on every single news station?
Oh, yeah, and flatten the curve. And
Yeah.
all that,
New normal, new normal.
All the talking points.
Does that sound like they're trying to program you?
Oh yeah, it sounds
Yeah?
like they're trying to program the world.
The world with the new normal.
Yeah.
Horrible disease, horrible.
So we got, this is the Raven, guys, if you're just tuning in Winnipeg. Look, I'm jealous because it's nice. It's been raining all day, and my neighbor's cutting his grass in the rain right now, in the dark.
Horrible disease. Trump, eh?
We've had 7 deaths here since the start, and we have 16 sick people in this city of about 1 million people. So, we just had to shut everything down and keep the doors locked, keep people in lines, keep people at distance. Don't let people work out or go to the park or any of that stuff. We're opening up back now, but it's not good enough. I think we need to open up 100% and that's it.
And you recently bought a house and you're trying to pay your bills.
Recently bought a house, and I'm not eligible for any of these subsidies that the government's handing out because I'm only taking a cut in my wage. You know, I'm not willing to go on DEI and take these handouts and everything else. So I got to keep working. There's people that depend on me to keep working.
I hear you.
And I just have to adjust. I have to
Yeah.
do what I can just to scrape by. So.
And Dean, it's.
Yeah, I'd like to come out just to kind of question people on why we're having a state of emergency, ask people what the real emergency is, right? I think the only emergency is the one that the government's creating, which is lockdown on a national level. And if we look at our Prime Minister, for instance, always gets up in the morning and has his little speech and says he likes to protect Canadians. But out of 37 million Canadians, only 1.5 to 1.6 million people have been tested. That's 4.5% of our nation.
I'm going to jump in here. You got to give Trudeau the benefit of the doubt. He didn't have The Apprentice for 6 years to prep him to be an actor. Although he is a drama teacher. You're right.
Yeah, he's a drama teacher, Raven. Get with the code here.
The new normal. Yeah.
A lot of people they jump on TV and they listen to the TV instead of diving into any research of their own, right? Instead of looking at the numbers, instead of questioning things. When you actually look at things, 0.02% of Canadians have passed away from this, and 80% of those are past our life expectancy. Let's enjoy our 82 years here instead of living in fear.
Yeah.
Let's be happy if my grandma lives until she's past 90 years old. I had enough time with her. I've had a lot of time with her.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be sad that she's passing away. It might sound morbid, but that's what we do.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the giant number of people that died in the nursing homes too. The nursing homes where the report just came out that they're using dirty needles, reused needles. They're using expired medication. They're serving them rotten food. There's cockroaches. There's bed bugs. You name it. And you're going to tell me that the health crisis is not in that? It's in some kind of magic disease that popped up. Like, I get it. It's a real disease, but like it only spread that way because of the conditions in those places, and they're not spreading that way anywhere else. Like in Winnipeg, even here, just as an example, like it's not spreading like that here. You know, there's no like I don't know, like there's no community spread like that here. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
I just think none of it adds up, right?
Well, yeah.
Almost $1 billion, that's almost $1 billion has went out now to 4 and 8, 820 some odd $billion in the last few weeks has went out to fund abortions in Africa. There's sick and dying people in Canada. This is taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
I like Canada because of Canadians. We look out for each other. From coast to coast, we're good people to each other. And our taxes are being taken to us for something that's not us. This is almost taxation without representation.
Yeah, I think taxes are going to start like an odometer. They're going to start spinning.
Well, everybody $2,000, make everybody happy. Hey, we created a situation, but we also saved you in that situation. Are they the heroes? Government's going to be
Yeah, the communist Chinese did the same thing. The communist Chinese created, this guy's right here. I think his name is Dean. He's right. The communist Chinese already wrote a book on how they found the virus, stopped the infiltrators, and saved the world and saved Christmas. So the book's written in 23 languages. So if you want to pick it up, it actually exists.
heroes here?
and Trudeau's operating without any oversight right now.
What's that sign say? Hold that sign out. Oh,
Mike Martin's channel,
that's the Mike
YouTube.
Martin's channel.
Woo!
Look at that.
I thought it said have martinis.
No? You guys will be watching the Mike in the Night tonight, eh?
Yeah.
Mike in the Night?
Yeah.
Mike Martin's channel?
Well, I hope
Okay.
they're watching because we're live.
So, anyways, this is the this is the Raven coming to you from Winnipeg.
Thank you, Raven. I love you, man. That's the Raven. That is our friend, the Raven, who basically went out on limb today and threw out the mic. Wow. So we're gonna get. Hopefully, the Raven. I don't know. I don't think is he working tonight? I don't know if he told me he was working. He didn't message me today. I know he went to this. I don't know if he's working at night, but we're gonna give him a call for sure. All right, let's see what's going on here. Okay, so let's get Craig. He's dying to come on. Let's get our man Craig from New Zealand on the show and tell us what the heck is going on down there first, and then we'll move up probably to Australia or Canada, and then back to the United States of America. Craig, what's up, buddy?
Oh no! Hey, great to hear from you. I thought you were gonna get the Raven in.
Yeah, I'm gonna get him in a few. No big deal. Raven's up late watching this, so don't worry.
Love the video. Good video there.
Yep, it's
Some
they're
good
training. They're massaging the. What are they massaging us for? Was it that last article I read? Let's take our planet back from who? The Decepticons?
I kind of think that. For a start, did you get my article I sent you on the housing?
Probably. I have to. I get like 200
You've been
messages a day.
swamped. I think what they're doing is, I have a bit of a theory about that. I
Wait
think
a
what
minute,
they're
is
doing
it about the one from Australia with that guy's trying to get more people in from Hong Kong?
No, it's just saying that the Auckland housing market and the housing market in New Zealand might go down. We haven't heard a lot about Hong Kong, although I do think they do keep that kind of stuff from us on purpose.
Okay, because what I'm throwing out there is because I didn't, Craig, you have to admit I called this a few weeks back, that when our Canadian government flipped the script, that the Australian and all the other governments with a lacking or an overpriced housing market are going to fight for the Hong Kong wealth. You know, I call that.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And I even would go a step further and say, the CCP might even be behind it, to the point of, hey, you guys, here's the script and this is how we want you to play it out. And I say that because I've actually been up to China a few years ago, and China has a 100-year plan, and the West has about a 5-year plan, depending on your election cycle. So the dragon really only started to wake up in the early 90s.
Right.
But going back to the other thing, I think what they're doing, Mike, is they are trying to push the clock back 100 years, where you've got the rich and the poor, because I don't think the rich and the powers that be like this idea that people can crawl their way up into a good life. Which is the middle class.
Okay.
And I think they've done that with students, because I did see a doco on YouTube about it, and the guy was saying, well, apparently they didn't like the students protesting, so what they thought was, well, we'll give them loans, and then they'll be too busy with their loans, they won't be able to protest. And I think that's what's been happening.
Yeah.
Give people a lot of debt, we'll divide them, we'll bring the race card in, we'll bring the ethnicity card in, and we'll divide them. And then in the meantime, we'll do all this other stuff, destroy the family and increase the cost of living.
Yeah,
get rid of you.
Especially increase the cost of living, and the locals from those countries basically don't stand a chance to compete with the money. They just can't stand. They can't compete with that much money.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's it's just gone beyond all jokes now, to the point where I have a good friend in Australia, because I went to high school in Australia. We're very close. We have our Anzacs. I think I've told you about that before. The Anzacs, Australia and New Zealand Army Corps, which came about from the tradition came about from basically the First World War. They landed them on this beach in Turkey, Gallipoli, and they dug in under fire. And they were thereafter known as the Diggers.
Okay.
So yeah, I have a good friend in Australia who has said to me recently, probably the last 3 or 4 years, because I ring him for Anzac Day, said, well, you know what, Craig, I don't even know why I went to war now, because they're all here.
Yeah.
And plus that, and I mean, that might sound a bit racist, but and on top of that, you can't even call a spade anymore, because you might hurt someone's feelings.
Exactly. You can't criticize anything or criticize a way of because it might hurt somebody's feeling. I'm always going to criticize the communist parties, no matter what.
And the thing is, I was watching the comments before, the show came on, and I noticed a couple of things, just a couple of thoughts. Now, so I'm 44. I grew up in the 80s, and race and sexuality and all that kind of stuff, it was just not an issue. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It wasn't. It was like, well, look, the basic premise was Well, if you want to go home and wear women's underwear, or you want to sleep with a man, or you want to sleep with a woman,
Nobody
or
cared. Nobody cared. Nobody
yeah,
cared.
nobody cared. It was
Nobody
great,
cared.
you know.
Yeah, I
Just
understand.
do
I
your
understand.
thing. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you
And it
mean.
was this kind of race thing. It was
It's
like,
it's a divide and conquer tactic. It's divide and conquer
and
tactic. If they can't get us with taxes, they'll get us with the media. If they can't get us with the media because no one's watching cable anymore, everyone's watching Mike in the Night, then they get us with something else, right?
oh, definitely, definitely. But it's very sad to see the racism still in America, and I'm not saying that to upset anyone on the show. I'm just saying as a observation. It's very sad to see that the two sides. It's still there, and I don't really know a lot about the story. I'm not obviously not as finger on the pulse as a lot of our listeners.
Mm-hmm.
But a that it happened, and b that it could happen, and obviously that they would use it like this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's very sad. I always thought that the mark of a civilized world is where we can have disagreements. Like I can look at the sky and say, well, I think it's blue, and you can say, well, no, it's pink, and then we can agree to disagree on that without you coming over with your club and beating the crap out of me. I thought that was a kind of premise of the civilized world, but that's kind of, that's not a good thing,
No.
if you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
And there was something else as well, but I've seemed to forgot it, as I always do.
No worries. No worries.
But there was another thing. I think like I told you last time, I'm starting to see some evidence of the slowdown. Obviously, a lot more unemployed. Things are tight. Things are getting tight at work. They're watching the hours, and there has been a whole lot of cheap things for sale.
Yeah.
Cars. Obviously, I don't have factual numbers or evidence, but I can tell you anecdotally, second-hand cars are now about half the price they were.
Yep.
And people are just selling off their wares.
Yeah.
And not just your big ticket items, like obviously your boats and your cars, but little things too. Like, I saw one post there, a guy was selling his daughter's keyboard.
Oh, wow.
Guitars, computers, laptops. Yep. So you can see, the desperation starting to come in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting.
Interesting.
From where.
Interesting times we live. All right, Craig, I'm going to let you go.
Hey, love the call. Thank you very much.
No problem, buddy. I want to see if I can get as many people on as possible tonight. And we're going to get as many I want some first-time callers to call in too, okay? All right, Craig, God bless you. Stay strong. Keep us up to date what's happening in New Zealand, okay, buddy?
Yes, sir. Thank
you
you,
so
and
much.
I'll keep listening. Okay,
bye.
Shout out to everyone in the chat too.
And
bye.
the Raven. Okay, bye. That is my man Craig Cook down in New Zealand. Give us an update. So he brought up some really, my daughter has a keyboard, right? And I would hate to be in a position where I need to sell my keyboard so I could. Oh wow, I would be in a position where I don't even know, man. Like what's been happening is. It's hard. It's hard to stomach where people are, and when people have nothing to lose, they start fighting back. And I brought that up a few years ago on the channel over and over. Let's bring up that clip so we know where this channel's coming from, especially if you're tuning in. It's from the Fast Five. So, right here.
Look, I would love to expand my operations into your countries. But quite frankly, your business methods are too violent. Let me tell you a true story. 500 years ago, the Portuguese and the Spanish came here, each trying to get the country from their natives. The Spaniards arrived, guns blazing, determined to prove us boss. The natives killed every single Spaniard. Personally, I prefer the methods of the Portuguese. They came bearing gifts.
Yep.
Mirrors, scissors, trinkets. Things that the natives couldn't get on their own. But you continue receiving them there to work for the Portuguese. And that's why all Brazilians speak Portuguese today. Now, if you dominate the people with violence, they will eventually fight back.
That's right.
They have nothing to
You dominate the people with violence, they eventually fight back
lose.
because they have nothing to lose.
That's the key.
And that's the key.
I go into the favelas.
So he's basically saying he goes in, gives something, and they have a lot more to lose if they decide. So this is what's happening. People now are looking at the situation and realizing that they don't have much. And they're getting to a point where fighting back might be the... And I don't want to promote violence. I don't promote violence. I'm not a violent... You know what I'm saying? And... movie name? Oh, MGTOW guy. That's the Fast Five. The Furious Five. The driving movie. The Fast and Furious 5. Oh yeah. Okay, let's get our next caller in. I think Blunt News. I don't know. Blunt News. Call me if you're available. I know you are in transit or you're on your way to. You're on your way somewhere. So I'm not sure if you are available. Let's get, I don't know if Globetrotter Mike, I don't know if he's at work or if he's going to work. Let's bug him because he sent me that, this, let's take our planet back. Like, who do we have to give it back to? The Decepticons? Like, honestly, I'm being real. I'm asking a serious question here. Yeah, Globetrotter Mike is not available, so let's move on. Let's get the Lord Humongous on, who is in Denver, Colorado.
Hola.
Lord, how are you, my brother?
Hola.
You okay?
Yeah, are you?
I'm doing fantastic here in Canada, in docile Canada.
I thought you were in Miami, Mike. It looks very Miami Vice 1980s background.
You like this, eh? Miami.
I love that. I love that studio look.
Yes. Guys, tonight I'm getting the phone's ringing like crazy. Guys, let me call you guys. I got a lineup of people. Please let me call you because it's disturbing. It's disturbing the show. Like when I'm trying to talk to somebody, I will call you and then we'll get into some first time callers too. I promise.
Yeah, get in line, people.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So let's get back. I'm gonna get back to the riots. So what's going on? You're in Colorado. Are you seeing any activity there?
Yeah, I mean downtown they shot on Thursday. Somebody shot some live rounds off at the Capitol building, and there was another protester that got hit by a car. But all this is staged, Mike. It's the elites behind the scenes. They're the ones that are...
Denver riots here in Colorado here. This was from today, from Action 9 Denver News.
Yeah.
Oh, just ran over a guy. Holy smokes.
They're in every city, though. Those are your agent provocateurs. They work for the big money players like George Soros, and they're all connected.
Can I back you up with that?
Sure.
Well, here it is. Someone on the council in Minnesota came forward and said everyone that was arrested in Minneapolis or like the areas there that have been arrested,
Out of state.
They're all out of state. They're all out of state.
Yeah, they bust these guys in. They all work for secret agencies, man. They want the people to have a race war here in America, white against black.
But they've been trying that for the last 200 years.
Yeah, but they end up failing, and then the ones that these big companies and banks, every time I see one of those get lit on fire, I cheer because that's the real enemy. That's the ones that have planned all this destruction. Mm-hmm. The big banks. People need to focus on that. It's not a racist issue, man. You know, the elites or the parasites that be always play the race card to their advantage. It's divide and conquer. It's a communist tactic.
It's like it's like Craig said when Craig was on the first caller in. Craig, when we spoke to him, he said nobody cared if you were gay, if you were this, or what you decided to do. Nobody cared. You know, but they're making it. You know what I'm saying?
But each side has their own groups that are built into those very power structures, right? So you have the whole gay and LGBTQ on the left side with the communists and Antifa.
And then you got Antifa
and Black Lives Matter, right? Yeah. They're all deeply rooted in communist ideology, man. They like Marxism. That's what they want. And then you have the whole other side, which is the New World Order and the police structure and the military and the military industrial complex. I mean, people got to see through this BS, man. I'm not even sure. I heard another report that the black guy that worked with the cop that supposedly killed him. You know, so how do we know what we're watching on any of these news propaganda channels is the truth? You know, nobody ever sees that. They just get so emotionally enraged from within because of the past things they've seen in history. You know, the bad things that have happened and you know what? Every race is affected by this. It's not a white or a black thing or any of that stuff.
It never was.
It's all about control.
Yeah, it never was a white or a black thing. That's the thing. It never was. They've made it. They've made the agenda. You know what I'm saying? They've made it into that so that people could find a reason why things are happening. Because you know it's you know this is I don't know, man. It's this old, you know, bait it and see if they catch it and see what happens with that and if we could control them a little bit further, right?
Yeah, and it works on every group, man. Look at the zombies that are still walking around with rubber gloves and medical mask on because of a Bill Gates hoax virus connected to the WHO. You know, I'm glad that Trump made that move, but you know what? He's got to do a lot more. Like, he knows who these dark players are. If he really cares about America and Americans, the people of this country, he would be arresting all these criminal jokers that get up there and propagandize this garbage, you know, and scaring the masses into fear, you know, because that's the tool they use is fear. I'm not scared of them. I could give two craps less, man. And if they start rolling the military on the street, I'm not scared of them either because I got a ton of ex-military out here that will take care of those jokers. You know what scares me is the technology, man. And that's where they're trying to lead everybody to, because that's the ultimate. They'll get everybody onto this digital artificial garbage.
Yeah, and forced vaccinations. Who knows, man? It's like
people just need to say no to that stuff. There's ways to defeat your enemy without having to resort to violence and risking your life going into a situation where people are crazy in those situations. They lose their minds because they're so beaten down by the very system. So they have to go loot and break stores. And, you know, it's usually the small business owner that pays the price for that. And that's not their enemy, you know. If you're going to target stuff, target the police stations. I laughed when they burnt that thing down to the ground. They should burn every police station down to the ground. There's too much police state in this country.
That's true.
Especially in America.
Yeah, Lord is saying that metaphorically. We're not condoning violence on the channel at all. He's just saying that metaphorically, like there's too much police. How do you say it?
Don't burn down your own neighborhoods. That's what they did in the LA riots, man.
Yeah, they burnt their own stuff down. They weren't out in Beverly Hills doing it.
Exactly. That's where they should have been, because those are where all the culprits were, right? You got to know your enemy and you got to know your target, man.
So, guys, what you're seeing here is Denver, Colorado here. So, Lord Humongous was there. I don't see you there. I'm trying to see if I could see you here.
Oh, I'm always in the background, bro. You'll never see me. I ghost. I have to ghost. I have to stay gray, man. I can't get involved on either side. You know, I think both sides are wrong. I think people, especially Americans, they need to learn their roots and they need to learn about the independence, and they need to take the power back from these criminal politicians. You know, and the only way to do that is on the local level, because they've ensnared us in this entire country, man. It's like Skynet, you know. It's the control grid. I'm worried about the 5G stuff. You know, people, instead of protesting over some black guy that supposedly got killed, we don't know what the deal is with that. Where was his autopsy? Where's the funeral? Where's the body? You know, I want to see. Show us that he's really dead if it's not a hoax. You know what I'm saying? They always do that in every false flag. You never see the victim.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I want to see proof. I don't believe anything that comes, just like Raven. I don't believe anything that comes through the digital media.
Mm-hmm.
The digital media being manipulated to make your mind think certain ways, and emotionally you get upset because of what you're seeing. But it could be completely false on what you're seeing. You know, and that's seen through the bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and people got to realize that they got to wise up to at least that fact that everything they see on media television is garbage.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they've been messing with my phone lately. I don't know which agency it is yet, but I know that they've been screwing with my phone line.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah.
So
I mean, I have to remain as anonymous as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because when the time does come, I will take this country back. You can take that to the bank, and I'll take it back with Americans that want to take it back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm not playing this banker bullshit anymore with these central banks. They're driving the entire world economy into dust, but it was going to happen anyways because fiat is failing. That's what they're trying to cover up with all this other garbage.
Can I throw something?
You know?
Can I throw something at you?
Yeah.
What's this
ahead.
article that's going around from the United Nations New World Order website? The UNWO.org. Let's take our planet back. I mean, who are we taking it back from? The Decepticons? Who's got our planets? The banks, right?
Yeah, that, and you're taking it back from the bogus agencies that run up black budgets for the last, I don't know, 70 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have an unlimited checkbook, man. That's why there's no balance in our economic system here in America. We don't make anything anymore. We don't manufacture anything anymore, and they're trying to take everything away, including our food supply. You know, that's really dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
I heard that Russia now is trying to get into the whole agriculture thing.
Well, they have the land for it. They got enough months in the year that they could cycle enough rotation to feed their country if they have to.
But at the end of the day, Mike, all this is really about, every war is a banker's war, man.
It is.
It's about,
they arm both sides of every conflict, and they're always looking for the to get the upper hand when it comes to getting the contracts for weapons and stuff.
Who controls the gold? Because gold is the only perfect money on the planet. That's why the central banks want it. It's what keeps their Ponzi scheme going with fiat.
Mm-hmm.
So they can print trillions upon trillions of bogus crap money into the system that they create.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's why I'm such a sound proponent of sound money. That's what's going to fix 90% of this stuff.
Right.
You know, but we can't have the infrastructure has to remain, you know, and
well, they're destroying the infrastructure, and then what's going to happen is your taxes are going to go up, and the wealthy don't pay taxes because they offset or they hedge their tax returns against stuff they need for their companies. So, I owe $2 million in federal tax or federal tax. Well, I'm going to buy myself a helicopter, and I'm done. I don't have to, you know.
The whole tax thing is a scam, man. Especially here in the U.S. It was created with the Federal Reserve. It's an international private taxing firm for the international Rothschild bankers over in the UK. Okay, they never spend any of that money on what it's supposed to go for, you know, like infrastructure or bettering America. You know, all those dark pools of money. There's tons of them that they've already drained and sucked all the resources out of, and now they're trying to suck the resources out of what's left in America. You know, we're a rotting corpse here, economic, because of this unsound money system that's tied to the whole entire fiat system. Every country's pegged to that so-called dollar, but it's just a note, and the debt comes along with it. Half of that shit is phony too. That's what people realize. You know, so they go and they'll start another war. You know, and kill more millions of people, innocent people that have, you know, they don't want to go over there and shoot and kill. You know, I don't want to go kill somebody innocent in an innocent foreign land.
Yeah, what for?
But that's the evil and the deception, because there's money to be made in war, man. You know, you got weapons.
When recession hits, I mean, when all fails, go to war.
Exactly, and that's what needs to change. We don't need to go to war. There's no reason for it.
No.
We need to learn how to psychologically communicate with each other and get a fair system going again, a sound money system again. That's the only thing that's going to change any of this stuff, man.
Mm-hmm.
That debt's got to go. That debt's is phony. They could write that off tomorrow if they wanted to and start from zero. Start with sound currencies. You could even have sound fiat currencies like a silver certificate. As long as I could go to any bank and trade it in for an ounce of silver.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But that's how they maintain control. And until these assholes either one stop or they get killed or taken out, it's going to continue, man.
Well, it happened in Iceland. In Iceland, they imprisoned all the banksters in Iceland like 10 years ago. They imprisoned everybody, and they restarted their economy, and now Iceland's one of the biggest growing GDPs in positive territory, even during this COVID.
Right, but people are so dumbed down that they can't even see that. They never find the root of the problem. It's always something else, and that's what they bank on, is that we'll fight each other to the death because it helps with their evil agenda of depopulation. These sickos think that there's too many people on the planet. You know what I mean? And who are they to play God with whoever? We're all born here equally as far as I'm concerned.
Yep. And we have our God-given rights when we're born.
Yeah, and you have your God-given right to self-defense, and that means if some government tells you you can't have a weapon, that's when you should be buying 10 more, and 10 more boxes of ammo. Yeah, that's how you fight them.
That's right. Okay, Lord.
That's it. All right, man.
I love it when you get all riled up. I love it.
Well, I'm just trying to tell people the truth of the matter, man.
But I like it because you have the passion, you drive, and you know what it's about.
People, I care about humanity. It doesn't matter what they are.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see people successful. There's good in everybody. I don't want to see the bad. I don't want to see the destruction. But until the system collapses completely and we're forced into it, and the bankers, that's how they're going to lose their power. If we don't have all these big billionaires and businesses and stuff that keep this Ponzi scheme afloat. It's got to get back to the basics at some point. But, I like to get fired up, man. Because I care about people. I care about all people. I don't want to see these stupid groups anymore. I don't want to see the evilness that takes place, the murders. I just want a sound, fair, productive system so we can all enjoy a life here while we're here.
That's right. Okay, bud.
All right, man.
It looks like we got a first-time caller calling in, so we'll talk soon, okay?
Good. All right, buddy. Bye.
Adios. Thank you, Lord, for everything.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. That is our man, Lord Humongous. And we got somebody calling in that wants to call into the show to discuss... Okay, let me see. Where's the first-time caller, too? Okay, so let's go to... Rex Cohan called 6 times. Let me call him real quick. No answer. All right, let's keep moving on. Blunt News said 5 minutes. It's been 15 minutes with Lord Humongous. Blunt, what's up, buddy? I can't hear you, bud. I can't hear a word you're saying.
It's madness out there. That's what I'm seeing.
Oh, madness. Total madness. Let's open her up. Okay, bud. So here it is. I got you on here. Let's get you on guest. Okay, Eamon, you got to stop calling, man. I called you. You didn't answer. All right. Tell us. What is going on in your neck of... what's going on? Tell me.
Lord covered everything pretty well there, but to talk about the technology aspect of it, they're now using this contact tracing app to find people within the protest. Mm-hmm. The Minnesota Public Safety Commissioner, John Harrington, says that they've begun to use the contact tracing app for arrestees. So that's, we saw this coming, obviously. We said it wasn't going to be just for the Covey, right?
Kovishta, yeah.
Yeah, Kovishta, the Cervigia bug. And here we are, right? And it didn't take long. They're shutting down all the cities. I think I counted about 15 of them. Minnesota, Chicago, LA, Atlanta, Denver, Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Seattle, Cleveland, Columbus, Portland, Miami, Milwaukee, Salt Lake City, Rochester, all have some kind of curfew going on right now. So I don't see things in the States getting any better. And as far as the Canadians go, we know Canadians won't go out there and protest like that. But it's not about the public. It's about these agent provocateurs. If they want riots in Canada, they'll get riots in Canada. It
like those
matter
pipeline
what we
people,
want.
those pipeline rioters that had no idea what they were rioting for? Or protesters?
Yeah, or the G20. Do you remember the G20 in Toronto? When they parked a few police vehicles just a block away from the protest and left them there, you know? They didn't, and what happened? They got burnt, the media got their shots, and they bring in more tyranny, basically. National Guard cruising the streets in some rural areas in the States. I just finished watching a video. These people were on their front porch, and the National Guard's rolling down their street, and all of a sudden you just hear them say, "Light them up," and they shot these people with paint canisters, and they go running in their own homes. This is by design. You think that they don't want to make all this disruption? This is what they want, because then they get order out of chaos. Lord was spot on to everything he said, and a lot of it is what I wanted to talk about. But that's my 2 cents for today, buddy. Get your callers on. You got a lot of people trying to get on today.
Okay, so, all right. So, but now let me throw something at you real quick. Did you see that article that I threw up real quick there about the whole New World Order thing that George Walker Bush has been talking about in the UN for many years, since the early 90s, and now they're throwing it up again, and this is a great time to kind of publicize it and say, let's take our world back. Who are we taking it back from? The Decepticons or the bankers, or what are they trying to pull on us?
I don't know what they're trying. Well, we know that they want full control, one world government. We've known this for years. They've rolled it out in a way where those who were paying attention would seem like crazy people. And they let us speak. They let us get that word out there. So when it finally does come to fruition, the public accepts it, right?
They're massaged into it.
Yeah. If I show you a video, they use this tactic in all movies, all shows, even your radio, mainstream radio stations you might listen to on the way to work or whatever. They use this everywhere, where they bombard you with this idea where you learn to accept it when it finally comes. It can be anything. It can be, if I show you movies where people run in fear every time they see someone pull out a black cube, and we see this in movies for 10 years straight. One day someone pulls out a black cube, people start running. They don't even know why they're doing it. They've just been programmed to act in that way. And this is how they control us, this one aspect. The dividing us, it makes us fight each other rather than fighting them.
Mike Banks is in the comments saying a bunch of white guys talking about, what did he say here? I'm trying to go back to the... it's funny listening to a bunch of white people on topic of racist oppression.
Like white people can't feel racism. See, that's a division tactic
you're
right
Portuguese.
there.
You're Portuguese, right? And do you remember the mass deportation of Portuguese in Ontario?
Yeah, in Toronto, especially.
Okay, so
and it didn't just happen
oppressed.
at that time.
We weren't allowed. They went to Dufferin Mall. They went to a mall, shut it down, and everyone, if they didn't provide papers, get on a bus. 2 people were deported back to Portugal that weren't from Portugal because they didn't have ID on them.
Yeah,
they're not even from Portugal. Story. They're not even from Europe at all. They were born in Canada.
Yeah, this narrative where white people can't be racist is ridiculous. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And that's actually being racist by saying that a certain color of skin can't do something another color of skin can is racist on its own. I thought I was white until I went to go work in Fort Nelson, BC on the oil rigs, right? I found out real quick I wasn't white. I felt the racism.
Oh, big time.
But, it is what it is.
Yeah.
It's not gonna make me lose sleep at night. People are gonna be racist, and that's just the way the world goes. You were talking about how in the 80s nobody cared about what you did in your private life.
Right.
There was no this discrimination that they're talking about with gays or whatever. I don't remember it. I don't remember it until recently. It's starting to happen more now, as they pointed out. It's that same predictive programming tactic where they tell us what the truth is rather than letting us see for ourselves, and everybody's buying it. The majority of the public's buying it. Who's talking about Cerveja bug today?
Nobody's talking about the Cerveja bug today, buddy.
Right? Where's the social distancing? You got Hollywood. In Hollywood, you got
Hollywood
people, shoulder to shoulder. Where they were talking about social distancing 2 days ago, and now they're over there saying we have to eat the rich. Like what? That's another division, by the way. The rich versus poor. Given just because somebody's worked for something and gained some wealth, we can't start pointing the finger at them and say, they're not paying their fair share. They're paying what the government allows them to pay. If you can get off by not paying some money with a few tricks, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
It's plain and simple. And why should you be prosecuted for that? It's like the Chinese coming here to this country, buying up all the assets. I'm not going to point to China and say, how dare you? I'm going to point to our own government.
Yeah, remember I told you our government stepped in and went against the communist Chinese to favor the Hong Kongese? They have to, because the Hong Kongs are the only ones that are going to bring their wealth over now, not the mainland Chinese.
That's right. And what happened to that news, too? They were disappearing protesters 2 days ago. Nobody's talking about that now.
No.
It's crazy, man. But yeah, Mikey, I don't want to spend too much time today. Get your callers on.
All right. God bless you.
Thanks for having me.
God bless.
Blunt News out.
All right. All right, guys. That is Blunt News. I didn't know. I know he's Portuguese, but I didn't know he was Portuguese. So I was pretty shocked. Not shocked, but it's good that they get a voice out there. You know what I'm saying? And, all right, let's get back to our list here. I'm going down the list. All right, let's get the Raven on. We're going through mid-show right now. Let's get the Raven back on. Where the heck is the Raven here? Here it is. Let's get him back on here.
Hi, buddy.
Hey, what's up? How was the protest today?
Uneventful. More people showed up today than the last time I was there.
Well, last time you were there was like 13 people.
Yeah, the news showed up this time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, CBC was there, a couple cameras, and there were a lot of speakers. There were probably maybe a dozen speakers talking about, talking about the numbers and all this stuff. But, like they said, coronavirus is taking a back seat to what's going on now in the States. So, which I can't get a handle on those protests. I don't know. It's speculation. Like, is this a psyop or what's going on here? I don't know. It's speculation, man. I can't. It's just a guess. I'll tell you. Looking at those protests, they're burning that place down, man. And they said today that the cops aren't going to be charged. And the rioters, they're chanting, "Wait till tonight! Wait till tonight!" They're gonna go nuts tonight, man. Because
where was this, in Winnipeg?
No, this is in the States.
Okay. Because you're making me wonder, like, what the heck? Like,
no, we have a love-in Winnipeg. We don't go nuts here.
We're the docile sheep of Canada.
Yeah, we don't have enough people awake
Mm-hmm.
to even start a bar fight. We got nothing.
Start a bar fight. Woo! So we got the LA, New York City now. They're covering NBC News covering the New York City riots right now, live as we are here on Mike in the Night. So we got quite a few people here in. Let me see who's in the comments. A lot of people in the comments. A lot of new faces here in the comments too. We got Blunt News that was just on. A couple of new faces here in the comments. So a lot of questions about this. Are we like Mike Banks is really hard pressed? We need to get him on the show. A bunch of white people talking about the riots, race fueled riots. I mean, do you see a distraction here, Raven? What's going on? What's going on?
Your guess is as good as mine. Like they said, those provocateurs. There was a video with a guy dressed all in black with a mask on, with an umbrella, and he had a hammer, and he's just walking down the street, smashing glass. And then these people started following him, saying, "Are you a cop? Are you a cop?" And the guy just trying to get away. Like, you don't know what's going on. There's like you said, Soros. He could have people there. Like, who knows?
There was one lady that recognized one of the looters, and he was a cop, and it was her ex-husband, and she called him out on Twitter, and that thing got shared like the plague.
Yeah, like you know what? They had the Kavanaugh trials, they had Russiagate, they had the impeachment, they had the coronavirus.
Oh, you forgot that guy that blew up in Iran.
Yeah, and Jeffrey Epstein. There's tons.
That guy killed himself with toilet paper. Yeah, continue.
No, he's alive. He's on an island somewhere with a harem of 16-year-old girls. That guy ain't dead. Trust me, he's not dead. Not with that much information. No, he had a back door. He was a multi-millionaire financier. You don't think he had a back door? Come on. Common sense will get you through this world. That guy got out. He's got a new face. He's somewhere. Whatever.
Are you sure? Are you sure he didn't die with toilet paper?
No. The cameras didn't just die for 40 minutes. Those two guards didn't just happen to fall asleep at the same 40 minutes. We used all our coincidences in 9/11.
But hold on. Wait. But that's happened. I've seen a movie, a Scooby-Doo movie, where that happened, and that same incident's kind of coincidence.
Yeah. Maybe the Decepticons were there too. Who knows? I don't know.
Okay, so what's this thing that's up here? I got it right here. Let's take our planet back. This UNOWO.org. United Nations, the New World Order Project is a global high-level initiative founded in 2008. I think it goes back to George Walker Bush, to be honest with you, to advance a new economic paradigm, a new political order, and more broadly, a new world order for humankind, which achieves the UN's global goals for sustainable development by 2030. See, hear me out, Raven. I think this would make sense if we had a planetary, hearings, like a planetary House of Commons with other planets that are involved, like Earth, who's representing Earth, who's representing Mars. I could see this working if we have a planetary conjunction, but it's just us. So who are we taking the planet back from? The Decepticons? I know I said this 40 times tonight. Who's got our planet? The banks? Who is it?
The biggest shock for 2020, my whole life, the biggest shock that I have to deal with is not the coronavirus. It wouldn't even be an alien invasion. That's not even a shock. I don't care. The thing that I just can't handle is how asleep this planet is. The people out there, how they're just so programmed. That's a shock to me. And we got a big problem because of that. And that's going to have to be undone slowly before 2030. You're lucky you got guys like Lord Humongous who walks around with a 45 on his hip when he goes to the store. That's but I was saying there, Mike, about that the Kavanaugh trial, the Russiagate, and how all these distractions, the protests now. See how crazy the protests are?
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the stock market. Look at the variations in the stock market. Up 1,000 points, down. It's just the massive swings.
Yeah, I've been playing those swings.
Yeah, but it's you see the swings in the distractions too.
Mm-hmm.
The swings of violence, the swings. We're getting to a melting point here. Something's gonna let go. I don't know. I don't know what to say about those protests. I can't get a handle. It's all speculation. Nobody knows. Nobody's gonna know. I like looking at the numbers. Numbers don't lie. Well, unless they're manipulated numbers, but.
Well, who doesn't manipulate numbers? I'd like to know who doesn't manipulate numbers.
This planet isn't manipulated, And as far as them saying, like Lord says, oh, we'll go back to free money, sound money. You know what? I can see these guys making silver a strategic metal. You got to turn it in. This has got to go into the, gold will be banned. You're playing their game, else you ain't playing a game.
Mm-hmm.
As much as like to make millions off of our precious metals, they're probably going to, be pricks about it. I could see that coming. And there's some people been voicing that they figure they will ban gold again. Like Crispin Odie put an article out. They're talking about it. I could see it happening. I don't know.
Dave Sabrini, thank you for sending me $5.49 in Super Chat. Good evening, my brother. Stay off governments. Yeah, thanks for sending us the $5.49. I really appreciate it. Go ahead, Raven. You said you had something. I have...
Have something what?
You were going to say something, Raven, about... you were going to tell us how...
I don't know what comes next. These protests, like they said today, that the cops are now innocent. That they're gonna go nuts. Probably National Guard. They're gonna bring the army in. They're gonna put 1 million soldiers in the States. What are they gonna do?
They did this with Rodney King. Remember Rodney King? You're old enough to remember Rodney King.
Yeah. And you're gonna live longer than 2050, by the way.
I don't know about that.
That's not far. You're only gonna be 72 or something then.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Blunt News just threw something in there. Predictive programming. They will ban gold. Raven, it wouldn't be. Dave Sabrini just sent me some money. Thank you so much. Lou guys just sent me money. Keep it real. And COVID is the new 9/11. Pass all their new laws. Yeah. But okay, can I? Okay. Go ahead, Raven. You're going to say something.
That predictive programming that
yes.
Blunt and Lord are talking, that's when they're coming out and they're saying, like Bill Gates, the final solution. He said in his interview with Colbert there, the final solution. Mm-hmm. Did he say it on purpose? I don't know. But they give you that. It's almost painful to hear these guys say some of the things. They're prepping you. They're prepping you for the future. You're more accepting of it. Once you hear it, as you come into the future, you've heard it. It's predictive programming. That's what it is. When they say things and you're like, why would they say that? They're predictive programming you. There's a lot of psychological. Like I only started to really realize in 2020 the massive amount of psychological operations that they're running, from Trump repeating himself to the news keeps saying this is the new normal, to the best economy ever. When this economy crashes, you're going to reflect back and think, how was the economy? Oh, that's right. It was the best economy ever. Our economy was dead. It was dead across the board. When that yield curve inverted a year ago, we knew we were going to have a recession within a year. The repo market, we knew it was time. It was done. You're injecting that much money, it's only a matter of time. Now they just turned on the faucets and start pumping the money. And 68% of those Americans getting money, they're getting $600 more a month. They're paying them to stay home and be lethargic and not fight back and not stand up for and at the same time, they put a superhero cape on every single medical professional out there, healthcare, nurses, doctors. The government handed them superhero capes and put the billboards up. Thank you, frontline. Thank you, frontline. They're making TikTok videos. I
love TikTok. I don't know what TikTok is. I heard about it, but I don't know what is going on.
you got all these nurses and healthcare, and I've ran into them. And there's the odd one that are saying, yeah, it's all a bunch of BS. But the majority of them, they love the feeling of being a hero. And anybody in their family is going to stand up and say, my son, my daughter, my wife, my husband's a hero, and you're never going to take that away. So they've created a mass army of heroes that are going to fight for their cause because now they have use. They went into the healthcare field to help people, to get that little boost of, I'm helping. I'm like a fireman. I'm helping. I'm doing. But now the government's propelled them up to, super league status with a cape. I'm fighting the evil, horrible, horrible disease. I'm a superhero. And all their families will back them. Probably 80%. So you're looking at millions of people that they have on their side now that are going to argue against us. Is this disease really relevant? Is it wiping out that many people? You see what I'm saying there? There's a psychological game behind the whole thing. It's and I believe there's many aspects to it, and it's quite interesting to start dissecting all of them. But it's taken a back seat now. But what what we are left with now is that we're giving all this CERB payments, and so many people in the world are getting paid. And we have 100 engines that are sitting idle right now in one of our yards in the city here. We're stockpiling cars in small towns where there's empty tracks. We're putting wood cars, and we're hurting. We got 310 or 315 guys laid off that have mortgages and houses and families, and they're getting unemployment insurance. Like, how are you going to survive on that? These payments are going to come to an end, and these people are not going to have jobs to return to. Your homeless is going to explode. Your hungry is going to explode. In Canada, we had 4.1% decrease in transportation costs, so 4.4 decrease in clothing costs, but a 3.4 increase in grocery costs. So the CPI on groceries is going up. With 0% interest, fixed income, old people, they're not going to have food.
Nope.
And nobody's talking about that. There's going to be an explosion of people that have no food, and it's getting more scarce. Meat, everything is getting more scarce as the supply chains, and are the supply chains going to come back?
Well, yeah, we're seeing a lot of Targets and a lot of other ones, companies, big companies here closing their doors. Temporary, but then a lot of them, I don't see them reopening. I think these riots would be a good way to throw out that out there. Say, well, we lost too much during the riots, so we just can't recoup our losses and blah, 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 right?
Yeah, there's nothing permanent like something that's temporary. Yeah, it'll be permanent. I don't see it coming back. Our like the business that we used to have, we're busy all the time. No, I don't see it coming back. No.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling you on that one. I'm totally feeling you on that one. You're right.
And those protests, Mike, I don't know what to say about those. I'm watching it. I've seen lots of videos and it's just insane. Do you see how it really shows you how many there are of us against the cops? How the cops they're in a bad situation. They're burning down their buildings. They're throwing huge bricks right at them and hit them right now. They're just taking off. They're trying to get out of there. But what a bad time to be a cop. In the States, anyway.
Yeah. That protest you were at, so thanks for putting up that sign, Mike Martin's channel. I appreciate that.
Those two guys I talked to both lost their jobs. The first guy, I don't remember what he was doing. The other guy actually works for the railway. Like he's from your neck of the woods, I think Alberta somewhere. He got laid off as a conductor, so he's here in the city now trying to, I guess, look for work or just waiting to get called back. But I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. The CN is telling us 3 years. We're going to be like this for 3 years. I think that we're going to know the devastation in 3 years, but we are not coming out of this in 3 years. And you're saying that your kids, grandkids are going to be paying off this debt? We don't make it that far. Where this is going to hyperinflate. The USA debt clock, if you go look right now, it's probably on the verge of hitting 25,713 billion. It should be clicking from 712 to 713 within the next half hour. I watch it close. Twice this week, it jumped $100 billion in one day in an afternoon. Or
It's
50
past
billion.
25 trillion.
It's at 25,713 billion.
Billion. I got it right here in front of me. Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be at 26 trillion probably by June 5th. At the rate it's going, probably right around June 5th, we're at 26 trillion. We're over 30 trillion by the end of the year. That amount of money, you know, that's too much money.
And look at the dollar to silver ratio is $3,112 per ounce. And dollar to silver ratio in 1913 was $2.64. And right now it's $3,112 per ounce.
So what I believe that means is if you take the silver that they have above ground and divide it by the debt, the M2 money supply that the U.S. has, that's the average price of silver you would have right now.
That's what it should be, yeah, if it was on par with what it was in 1913. Dollar to gold ratio now is sitting at $25,804 per ounce. And dollar to gold ratio in 1913, they put 1913 because of the Fed, right? $28.88 per ounce, dollar to gold ratio. So right now, if you have an ounce of gold, realistically, with the amount of money that's out there and derivatives and all that other garbage, it should equal to about $25,804 per ounce realistically.
Yeah, and what Jim Rickards says by 2025, an ounce of gold should be $14,000. I believe that it could easily do that in 5 years. So if he says an ounce of gold's 14,000, so you're looking at what you got there is around 26,000, pretty close to your gold. Mm-hmm. So that's about. He's saying it's half. If we take silver at 1,500 or at 3,000 and cut it to half, we're at 1,500 silver. If we match gold in the future, you could see in 5 years, you could see 1,500 silver. That's a possibility. If you're doing the same with gold, and that's what the big money guys project, why would silver not stay at the same level? You know? Mm-hmm. So it would be nice, but are we going to
see Soylent Green in the year 2022? Terry C is asking. Terry C, Soylent Green in the year 2022.
Who knows what we're eating anymore? You know, you know, Gates is in there too. And I was talking to my girlfriend. She said, "Well, Trump is trying to get away from the WHO, but now he wants to go with what's it, Gavi?" Yeah, Gavi. And that's also a Bill Gates backed enterprise.
Is it?
Yes. Yeah, that is Bill Gates. It is Bill Gates. Oh, so I don't trust Trump. I trust nothing he says. Anything he's doing is population. He's holding them down. Population control. He's controlling the people. He came out and said, "Oh, the masks. The masks are no good. Fight for your right." Yeah, shut up, Trump. You're an idiot. That guy's deep state. You got to figure that out now. Mm-hmm. People are saying, "Oh, Trump's going to fight for us." MAGA, Q, we're Q. Yeah, come on. Use your brain, man. These guys, he's deep state. He's Hillary. He's Putin. Xi Jinping, Macron, Merkel. He's all those people. Those people are going to take us to 2030. We got to wake up. We got to start looking around. Go ahead.
I was going to say something about the... No, never mind. Continue. I was going to ask you something about that law, that thing that we got from the New World Order. They're going to be ushering in more and more people are going to want to kind of be part of this bigger deal because they think there's something in it for them, right? And a lot of the poorer countries are going to want to be part of this bigger thing. And guys, I'm not throwing out New World Order there to be like, kind of like, you know, all, let me get it open for you guys. This thing here, let's take our planet back thing that's up there. What are they? We know what they're trying to incite here. We understand what they want. We understand what the agenda is. We've been talking about this agenda for the last million years, but we're talking about right now. They're massaging this. They're passing this underneath. So let's throw this out. So these are the companies: UNIDOH, United Nations International Day of Happiness, Sustainable Development Goals, UN goals. We got advancing a new economic paradigm of happy telism, making an impact across the globe. 10 billion hashtag 10 billion people by 2050. 10 billion people happy by 2050 but what at what cost? What's the deal here, right? So you could plan a pretty picnic, but you can't predict the weather, right?
They call it happy-talism.
Yeah.
Instead of capitalism, they call it happy-talism.
Yeah.
It's like Trudeau's people kind.
People kind, yeah. Okay, I remember what was on my lips. I wanted to say something. It was on the tip of my lips. Okay, so I had somebody from California call me the other day talking about, he wanted to tell me something about Bill Gates. So he called me on Skype. He was definitely around in the 70s when people were basically programmers were sharing script. So back in the day, in the early to late 70s, a lot of programmers would share computer script for programming, right? Yeah. And it was a common thing to do. No one would patent it or whatever. But apparently, this guy told me in the phone conversation what Bill Gates did, right? Because I just didn't want to talk about Bill Gates and I didn't want to get into it. But he told me something. That Bill Gates, what he did was he didn't create anything. He just took the script and all of the, the programming, and he took all that programming and he actually licensed it and then patented it for his own.
They stole other people's work, yeah.
Exactly, because there wasn't patent and no one was patenting, no one cared to patent and make money off script, right? So he would take all that, and then apparently he stole the QDOS from somebody else and created the Windows because he took the script from everybody else, created it, patented it, and then got his mother, who was good friends with somebody at IBM, to sell the software to come on the IBM computers.
Yeah, they were all connected to IBM.
Holy smokes! Because I thought he actually created Windows, like, the whole 9 yards. You learned this in high school. I was just in grade 7 and 8 when this was happening and stuff. And you would think, wow, this guy's a genius. He's on front of Business Magazine. He's an entrepreneur magazine. He's on everything, showing that he could change the world and software and bringing it to the 21st century. And then when you get a call from somebody that worked in Silicon Valley that was writing script at the time, mind you, the guy's like 69 now. The guy that called me is approaching 70 years in a couple of months. And he told me that it was crazy back in the day. Everybody was on acid or doing some sort of weird drugs and writing script and trying out different things, and he just took what was out there and patented and patented for himself.
Yeah,
I did not know that. I honestly did not know that.
I think there's a lot we don't know about Bill Gates.
Well, not just that. I mean, everything about anything we don't know a lot about. You know what I'm saying? Anything about everything that we're seeing. We just know what we see on the surface, but there's much more. You know what I'm saying?
Well, his dad was a central banker, eh?
Big time. And in some big eugenics. He was a big eugenics.
Goldman Sachs is a Rothschild bank. The Federal Reserve's a Rothschild bank. They're in all the countries except for Syria, North Korea, Iran. Mm-hmm. They're in China, so they own China. They own it all. They want something done. There's agenda. Everyone will agree. Trump is selected, not elected. You got to use common sense here, man. These people, I'll tell you something. If I was in their position, you guys wouldn't even know. You wouldn't even know. No, they make mistakes. They make too many mistakes. Like when they killed Soleimani in Iran. Where's the evidence that he was going to bomb an embassy? You didn't think of that? Did you not think people were going to ask to see that evidence? Mm-hmm. You guys make mistakes.
Well, let's go back to Iraq War II. There's no weapons of mass destruction here. There's none under here. Remember when George Bush Jr. was in front of the UN? I don't see any weapons of mass destruction here. I don't see any under here. And they were laughing and making fun of it because they knew there was no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And that's why they just wanted to go in.
Look at what happened during every president's presidency. George Bush was a monkey. Look what he had to do. Mm-hmm. You know, Clinton's a criminal thief. Look what he had to do. Mm-hmm. You know, look at Trump. And I'll tell you, I watched every single Trump video, David Letterman. I watched Hardline. I watched Phil Donahue. Every video that guy's done from the 80s up. So I could assess his intelligence in those interviews. And as 30 years old, 35 years old, that guy's a sharp guy. Sharp. He doesn't give out any information. Now he's a clown painted orange playing a game. If you go back and look at all his videos, he's a sharp guy right away. And the Rothschilds saw that in him when he was young. I saw that. He's a sharp guy. I knew that right away. Wow, that guy's good, powerful. They saw that too. They knew that. They put him in their back pocket for a while. Yeah. He was sharp, very sharp guy. Good answers to the questions. You know, David Letterman couldn't get him once. You know, but now anything. You know, the reporters get him going all the time. He's not the same person he was 30 years ago. You know, 30, 40 years. He's some clown that they've manufactured to be up there. He's doing what they say. Keep repeating these words, repeat these over and over. Make sure you got to emphasize that that's a bad disease. You got to emphasize this. You got to go out there and say, you know, Virginia, protect your First Amendment. Give the people false hope. That's the worst crime you can do on this planet, giving people false hope that they're going to end up being, they're going to perish in the end.
Yeah.
You gave them hope. You're coming out and you're saying masks are no good. He's pretending to be one of us. Trust me, he was selected. Do you think anybody, if I'm up in the top, do you think I'm going to leave a presidential election to chance? You're not going to remain up top for centuries playing that game.
No.
Use your brain. Use your brain.
Little peanut up here.
Yeah, you know what? You want to even debate that topic? Then you can't be here. You got to go. You got to get out of the room. The big boy's going to play in this room. This is the way it's going to be. We're not leaving anything to chance.
No.
We're going to rule and conquer this planet, and we're going to roll out our agenda as it goes. And if you can't handle it, then you're gone. Next thing you know, you're hanging from a bed sheet.
No. Toilet paper.
Was it? I thought it was.
No, it was paper bed sheets.
Yeah. Yeah, he's alive.
Yeah.
He knew too much. If I was in that jail cell, I would just tell him, hey, I'm going to dump 10 data dumps around the world. If I die, I've instructed accountants in 10 countries to release my information. They don't know what's in there. It all goes online, viral. You guys are all caught. Come on, kill me. You don't think he had a back door like that?
Yeah, no, I would have. A lot of people have that kind of, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people have that, yeah. That kind of insurance, right?
And they showed a picture of him on the slab. Oh, look, Epstein's dead. Yeah. I don't believe much about what these guys do, man.
No.
It's all brainwashing, all of it.
Yeah, it's like they buried Osama bin Laden's body in the ocean.
Who knows?
Hey, okay. All right, Raven. It's been a pleasure. We've been talking for 30 minutes.
You know, can you get Layla on? My girlfriend really likes what she says.
Let me see if I could catch her. I know. See what? Yeah, I'll see if I can catch her.
That lady's intelligent. I like listening to her.
Yes, I like having her on the show too.
Yeah, Layla, you got a fan in Winnipeg.
Yeah, Layla's got fans all over the Commonwealth.
Okay, right on, Mike.
All right, God bless you, Raven.
Okay, bye.
Bye. That is our man, the Ravenola. The Ravenola in the house. Raven, he's in the comments. And let's see if we can get our girl Layla on.
Hi, Mike. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you perfectly. How you doing?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. So we got Layla on here from Syria, who's going to give us a little insight on what she thinks is happening with these riots and this website, Let's Take Our Planet Back, and maybe give us a little insight on what she feels on, what's going on. So, yeah, go ahead, Layla. Tell us. What's going on in your perspective? What's eating your mind there?
Well, the riots, I think it's basically what everything Raven Blunt News were saying. There's also quite a bit going on in the Middle East, actually. Iran broke the sanctions, delivered 5 tankers to Venezuela.
That's correct. That arrived 2 days ago.
Yeah, so it arrived in phases. And so I think it's pretty clear why there was a war on Venezuela recently.
Hmm.
It's typical US government interference. And so I think they're trading. I think they're trading now.
Hmm.
And they're not. I don't think Pompeo can do anything. They've been admonishing Iran and all of that, but they can't do much because Iran can easily target pretty much all US bases in the region.
Hmm.
And certainly the Gulf countries don't want that. Saudi Arabia is in enough trouble. Um, Something else that's going on is that there's talks of dismantling Israel. It's becoming a bit mainstream. And I'm sorry to say, Mike, but they're saying Portugal is a potential destination for 12,000 shekels. They can get a Portuguese passport. So apparently that's in the talks. And some locations in the US
Hmm.
are also prospective. Well, the US for sure. And I'm suspecting Georgia as well. Funny things are happening in Kazakhstan. They're changing the language again. The name Astana was changed to Nur Sultan, which means the Sultan of Light,
Hmm.
which basically means Lucifer. I mean, you should look at Astana in Kazakhstan. There's so many funny things going on there.
Hmm. Hmm.
Look up the Kazakhstan pentagram on Google Maps. And so it's been, yeah, and still the Lebanon thing is still not resolved.
No,
I think it's
Lebanon. Man, that was one of the top really good destinations to travel to if you want a good. It's like Syria. It's like with lots of history
right.
and lots of culture and lots of I think Syria and Syria, I think was one of the biggest countries, in my opinion, for the most multicultural before this whole war. Like there was I think 136 different religions in there.
In Syria, I'm not sure. I think Lebanon is more diverse in these
And
in these
Lebanon too.
ways.
And I think the one where Gaddafi was there, Libya, was like that too.
Yeah, Libya was apparently a really good country under Gaddafi. He was very generous to his people, would
Oh,
always
big time.
give,
He give them free
right?
electricity, 5 cents a liter for gas. He would a lot of things. He got that irrigation basically get the fresh water to the farms. And he did a lot of work. He put a lot into that country. And then one day he told France that we're not going to give you 80% of our revenue. And then France turned around and just shut the door.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more than just France. Pretty clear, the Clinton involvement there.
Oh, Hill Dog.
Uh,
Yeah, Hill Dog's always in there
yeah, of
sniffing around
course.
somehow, some way.
Well, anywhere there's someone who's going to do things right and independent of the banking cartel, you're going to get that, right?
Hmm.
We've been through this many times. Yeah, so there's been quite a bit of things going on in the region. And what's funny is that people keep saying that Syria has been divided, and nothing has happened on the ground.
Hmm.
And people are saying that that's what people have been trying to say since the beginning of the war, and that's what didn't happen. But it's incredible how people can be brainwashed,
Hmm.
by ideas. But on the ground, this hasn't happened. Yes, there are occupied areas. So, for example, the Kurds are just an annoying element right now because they occupy an oil-rich area of Syria, which is not an accident. And then we've got the issues in the south as well. But otherwise, I don't think there's been a division in the way that people say there has been. There's been some compromises with Russia, but not. I don't think in the way or to the extent that people say. I think Russia's a pain in the butt. So is China. So is the U.S. But yeah, I mean, it was a very challenging 9-10 year war. But ISIS lost, and we know that the Israeli-U.S. Uh, didn't win the war. It's pretty clear to me that they did not. There's a stalemate right now.
Hmm.
Anyway, yeah, but the Iran thing, I think it's over. I think the sanctions and all of that, I think that's over. Everyone's saying that they've delivered those 5 tankers. They're not even asking, about what the sanctions are. They don't even care anymore. I think
know
they've
what?
given
They
the
shouldn't be
U.S. a lot
asking.
of chances.
Well, to
They
be very
shouldn't.
frank
No,
with you, they shouldn't be asking because it's called free trade.
absolutely. And the U.S. is always interfering with everyone's trade. Of course, that's the petrodollar business. Of course, that's going down. It's tanking. So I think they either barter or deal in petro yuan. I don't think they're dealing in dollars anymore. And that's been going on for a while.
Oh, they've been.
And China,
I
yeah.
know that Syria turned its back against the IMF and all those other loser institutions and the whatchamacallit, the OPEC oil basket, and turned its back on them too, and went ahead and started selling its oil for gold.
Yeah, yeah. That's why there's a war. Like Lord likes to say, it's always a banker's war. It's pretty much always a banker's war. If you can find that interview they did with David Rockefeller about why they invaded Iraq, it tells you pretty much everything. And they don't try to hide it. But yeah, I mean, these are the people we're up against. And in this case, this time with Syria, they didn't win. It was a very tough war. But they didn't come out winners. We know that. And in fact, even in the US, they admitted that. I think it was, what's his name? Ron Paul?
Ron Paul, is it, you talking about the doctor?
I'm not so sure. No, not the doctor. I'll have to rethink that name. But he said very clearly, we know now that, Syria won the war. So even they admitted, maybe not everyone in the U.S. likes to admit
Ron
that.
Paul
Certainly
would admit
not
that.
Bolton.
You're right. You're right with I don't even have to look it up. Ron Paul would admit that quite openly. Actually, I think you're right with the person. It's Ron Paul.
Yeah. And certainly Bolton wouldn't want to admit that, and certainly they didn't expect what was going to happen after the Soleimani killing. But here we are. So Iran is not making a fanfare about it, as they don't usually do, but they're off the sanctions, and this means they're going to harvest nuclear now, and just move ahead. The tough issues right now are in Lebanon, still not resolved. I think this time it's going to be the decisive point where Lebanon is either the IMF route or the Syria route. So that's why it's always been really tense over there, because the country was basically designed by the British to be that way. So it was designed to be that point of tension where it pulls in both directions. And when Hezbollah came onto the scene, it got a lot tougher for the other side, for the Zionist side, because there's plenty of Zionists in Lebanon, who support Israel. Even if they don't say so, it's, we know who they are, one by one.
Yes. People in the comments are saying Rand Paul is Ron Paul's son. Yes.
Oh,
we know
Rand
that.
Paul.
Yeah. I wish Ron Paul, I wish Ron Paul would have ran for presidency, but it would have been like another like what happened in the 90s with George.
Well, he was just recently recovering. Someone broke his rib. He was at home for a couple of years, I think, recovering. Yeah. He gets a lot of hate for being who he is, very respectable person.
But yeah, it's Ross Perot. When Ross Perot would have been the next John F. Kennedy, but him and his family was threatened, and he stepped down from presidency, and Ross Perot would have won that election against George Walker Bush Sr. He was winning in the pollsters.
I don't think so. Yeah, but
he would have won.
Allow it for sure. He would have won by the people's vote, but not ever by replacing George Bush Sr. Wow, no, I don't think so. That guy had all the strings. He was head of the CIA.
Yep, Lord Humongous says, I know he ran in 2012. I wish he won in 2012. I wish Ron Paul won. And he was winning like a lot of the like the debates and stuff. But the media, the mainstream Mickey Mouse media, was highlighting people there that nobody knew, and everybody was trying to ask Ron Paul questions, and everybody wanted Ron Paul to be the spotlight. But the media was going after a bunch of nobodies there. I remember that after they settled down, and then the media, CNN, and all the other guys went to a bunch of guys I've never even seen in my life and said, "So looks like you guys won these debates. What do you guys think now going forward in this and that?" And I'm like, wait a minute, why isn't Ron Paul standing beside these people? Because everybody would, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. They pull these characters out of nowhere to fill in the blanks. Yeah, they do. They're very well trained. You know, they've been doing this a long time. It's like what we're seeing now with the riots in the US. I mean, I was listening to this guy called Richie from Boston,
Yes.
YouTube channel. Do you listen to him? He was saying that that clip of the cop with his knee over George Floyd's neck. He was saying that's what they want you to see. You know, that's it was such a good image and it went viral, of course. That's what they want you to see. And it's pretty much all engineered, and you have so many of those what rent a mob
Hmm.
people, like Supreme calls them.
Rent a
Yeah,
mob.
there's going to be a war. Yeah, there's going to be a war in the U.S. much sooner than I predicted. But I think by year end, it's really possible this turns to arms. I mean, how far is it? What we're seeing now, how far is it from a civil war? I mean, where would you draw the line? What accounts as a civil war?
Well,
What
civil
accounts
war,
as a riot?
in my opinion, is when when the people take to arms and the people start eradicating any laws or start basically start demanding. Okay, civil war is when the people start to gain power over governance, and then the governance that's in power says, "What do you guys want?" And obviously, they're not going to give them what they want, and then the people will just eventually overtake and have to restructure certain things and fix certain things and put a different balance in the so-called life we're living now. That's, I think, when the government starts asking the people what they want realistically, because they know they're going to lose on every front. And when
Yeah,
people,
that's towards the end of the war, though, right? Mike, like before we get to that point, there's going to be some war elements at play, right?
but
But
at
at
a
the
civil war to
point,
start, I think this is a perfect starting point right now with civil unrest. Then from civil
yep,
unrest, you're going to start the bank. You could easily see the bank pulling a few things, or you could easily see them saying that gold is going to be illegal to have, or something stupid they're going to announce, right?
yeah,
And
I don't think they're waiting for a war for that. I mean, that's already in the works in some places, right?
mhm.
Maybe not in the US, but the articles are out in Australia, and so that's gonna follow in places like the UK and New
Mhm.
Zealand and Canada, because that's the Commonwealth blueprint. But in the US, even in some city halls, the folks at city halls, like the government folks, have retreated in some places. So that's a war type of element.
That's truly, yeah.
So
We got
I'm not sure
Linda
at
in the
what point.
comments saying, how the hell are they going to take to arms when they're trying to reopen that option? I think what she means that they're trying to take away guns, right? So
Yeah, yeah. I mean, no one in the U.S. is turning over their guns anytime soon.
no, like Lord
Uh,
said, if they tell you, well, this guy's wearing a hockey mask. Oh my God! I just noticed one of the security guards here has a hockey mask with the glass visor. It's a CCM hockey mask. I'm just noticed that. It just kind of threw me for a curveball. But to be really frank with you, when Lord Humongous said, basically, when they tell you, you got to turn in your guns, you go back out and you buy 50 more.
mhm.
So yeah,
Yep. Yep.
go out and buy 50 more.
I'm not so sure they could do that in Canada right now.
Oh, Canada! Like I said, it's a docile sheep of Canada.
Yeah, docile is the right word. So whatever happened to the gun grab? Was that a one day's worth of news and then it got buried under some other things like I don't know, political correctness, racism, or the masks that everyone needs to wear
You
because
know
they're
what?
so
There's so much
unhealthy?
going on so fast right now. You remember, Layla? Do you remember when things like this would happen every couple of months? There's something that
Yeah.
sparks up. Now it's every
Yep.
week.
Yeah, absolutely. And on this note, now you know how they've allowed the call for prayer in Ramadan in
Hmm.
at least the GTA. I don't know about the rest of Canada. Well, now they want it every Ramadan. So that was really quick. It did take a couple of weeks. The acceleration is all the way, and people aren't noticing, that like usually this takes like another year. You'd think that they would say that on the next Ramadan. Well, we did it last year. We should be able to do it every year, but no, it's like within weeks. So soon enough now they're going to say that they want the call for prayer all the time, 5 days, five times a day, every day.
Hmm.
You know, Wouldn't surprise me.
So
Yeah.
where are the Canadians going to go when they don't have a country anymore?
I don't know. What do Canadians say?
I don't know. A lot of us have European descendants. I'm a Portuguese citizen, so I'm not too worried. I'll just, like I said, move to
Yes.
one of those tiny islands in the middle of nowhere off the coast of Africa, and that's
Yeah.
it. I'm done. You know what I'm saying?
Is that something you think about now, Mike?
In the future, yeah. If things get out of hand, or we start losing our freedoms, or we have to turn into robots or something, and I just go back to where I'm from, the Azores, right?
Yeah, I'm not so sure you can travel by then. I think you'll need to pick up the signals a little bit earlier.
Well, I'll find some Portuguese army naval to take me or something. To take me across.
Hopefully you'll find one. Yeah, hopefully you'll find one.
Something.
And so what's going on in Canada? Anything new
Well,
going
the
on
Raven went to a
there?
protest in Winnipeg. There was a couple of protests in different parts of Canada for the whole lockdown thing. Nothing major going on. I mean, it's just the whole COVID thing, and the prime minister is giving a speech every day, and I don't know, giving a speech every day. I don't know. I really don't follow too much what's happening here in Canada, because it's a little blip on the world radar. When Trump sends a tweet out, the markets go nuts, right?
Yeah.
Our prime
Yeah,
minister.
that's why I have an issue with the stock market. It's emotional and reactive.
So
It's not a rational process of investment. You know what I mean? I don't know.
yeah, it's
I don't think
it's
I don't
a
think it
small
is.
blip on the radar, and you know what? It's I love Canada. I think it's great. I love the idea of what Canada was and what Canada wanted. You know, its direction, and then it got to a point where it's just hasta la vista, baby.
Yeah.
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 Are you coming back to Canada, or you think you're going to stay in Syria?
I don't know. I have no idea. Right now, my contract is on hold, and I wouldn't go back to Canada unless I have a contract in hand, because it's just too expensive to live without income.
Yeah, Canada's
And
just way over crazy expensive.
yeah,
And now, what do you think? Okay, you asked about Canada. There's one thing that happened, and I called this out the day of, when Trudeau went forward and said, I side with Hong Kong, and this and that with Hong Kong, and what's happening in Hong Kong. Let me tell you something, Layla, and this is something I know for sure. Is that law that they're trying to pass in Hong Kong was the same law that they passed in Portuguese China in Macau. The same law. And they did pass it in Macau 10 years ago, and not a single rock was thrown. Now you got the Canadian Prime Minister and Australian and all these other Prime Ministers coming because they want that Hong Kong money. They want to keep this housing market going. And what better than 500,000, 800,000 Hong Kongese coming into your country and buying out the rest of the property that's available?
Yep. People like Kevin Thompson are going to be really happy throwing Canadians under the bus. It's a problem, but I think you're right. I think it's going to happen.
Well, because why would our Prime Minister, who was hand in hand with China, and then flip the script all of a sudden and say, well, we're not going to get nothing from China anymore, and everyone's blacklisting China, so we're going to need to get those Hong Kong citizens here and bring that money, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that they're in bed together about this. You know, take these, these noisy rioters out of China, stick them in Canada, take their money, benefit from that, get them off my back, so much the better. And everyone's happy. It's like a win-win thing between China and Canada. Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's going to happen. That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Because this 18% drop in housing, I don't know. You think it's going to happen?
Well, there's going to have some sort of correction, because the whole Canadian proper, they just can't live in their own cities. We're talking about people that are educated, born and raised in their own cities, cannot afford to live in a one-bedroom anymore. So that's not going to fly. It's gone. It's just like they're going to become Canada. To me, is an autonomous region of China. They own a lot of our big towers. They own a lot of our apartment like condo complexes. They own a lot of our infrastructure. They own our biggest coal mine in BC. They own one of our biggest gold mines now somewhere out east in Canada. They basically own everything that we have a value, that Canadians have a value. And I think you mentioned in a comment on that video, who is giving the rights to sell this off to China? Like, remember you said that?
Yeah. That's a longer story though. I don't think we will have enough time to get around this, but I do think that the answer is a constitution of sorts. There's nothing that binds them. You know what I mean? There's nothing that people can't hold the Canadian government accountable. You can't sue the Canadian government. MPs are legally not bound to represent you in Parliament. You know, like people have lost legal cases against MPs. It's happened. So that's a problem. I do think that the Duke Willis gang, I think they're trying to do something, but I don't think that there's going to be enough time. And even if they did, if they get that far and there's a true threat to the Canadian de facto illegal government that now runs everything, I think by then it would turn to riots and some kind of war and militarized police and so on. I mean, in Canada, the police is already being militarized. David was mentioned that they threw a woman off the balcony. Well, just a month ago, they shot this guy in St. Catharines. He's just Duke Willis's neighbor. He has a video about it with the guy shot. And the guy was just he had an imbalance of sorts. I think he had a mental disability or something like that. So they got scared from the guy. Can you believe that? And they shot him. Apparently he wasn't much of a threat. I mean, he was in the neighborhood. People knew him. But they just shot the guy. And just recently the SIU report came out and they're off scot-free. No issues there.
Of course. Well, here's the deal. Like, the only way Canada could do this to get back is Canada needs to rally a government now, like a proper government, a grassroots government that's actually going to do seizures to illegally foreign-owned properties in Canada and put in a law that foreign investing is not allowed in Canada, like New Zealand did. Too little, too late. And then I think like 90% of Canadians or 85% of Canadians would actually vote for a government that's going to start seizing illegal ownership of property in Canada and started auctioning it off back to the people and using the proceeds to reinvest it back into the communities. I think that's the only way Canada could get back out.
Yeah, but that means getting all of these people out of Parliament because all of them are in this together, from the Conservatives to the Liberals to the other parties.
Layla, Mike Martin's Raven Party, right? And Supreme Cannon and a couple other people. Actually, a real party that's actually going to win because they're actually going to, but the problem is, let's say we pulled something like that. They won't even let us come up to the podium even if we had a majority of the vote.
No, we have to create our own podium. That's what I mean. That the whole government setup, this whole clown show, is all illegal. It's all de facto.
I don't think they'll even allow us to be on the ballot, even though 90% of the country would vote for that. They wouldn't even put us on the ballot, even though we could get the support.
Yeah, no, of course not. It's like what happened with what's his name, the other guy. We voted for him. I forget his name. God. Well, he lost his seat in the election, even though he got more popular. Yes, Bernier. He lost his seat in Parliament, even though he seemed to be a lot more popular. Like a lot of people that I knew voted for him.
Everybody I knew voted for him too. Everybody I voted for him. My whole family. Everybody I knew in town voted for him.
Exactly. So I actually don't believe in the elections. Like as soon as they told me that they vote in pencil, to me that was like, oh, come on, this is a joke.
Yeah.
We don't vote in pencil in provincial. What's the big deal? Why do we have to vote in pencil for federal?
And Layla, I've never met a human being still to this day that voted for Hill Dog.
You haven't?
I still haven't met a human being that voted for Hillary Clinton in that election. Nobody. I've talked to so many Americans. It's unbelievable. Maybe I should get Lord Humongous out and about with his camera phone asking people if they voted for Hill. Because like legitimately, I don't know a single human being that voted for her. I even told on the show, if somebody could call into the show from stateside and let us know, did you vote for Hill Dog? We would like to know. Please come on the show. Not a single person even commented that they voted for her. Not even called in or anything.
Right. Well, maybe not in your circles, but I'm pretty sure that Madonna and Robert De Niro voted for her.
Yeah, but I don't know those people, right? You know what I'm saying? But
yeah.
So-
Yeah. No, I mean, it's all fraud, right? I mean, even in California, no, in Florida, remember the scandal?
Mhm.
They were withholding votes and doing funny things. It all came out. It's old news. Yeah, it's all rigged. It's all wrong.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, Leila.
yeah.
It's
Mike.
been a peach. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. God bless. We'll
We'll
talk
talk
soon, okay?
You too. God bless. Take
Bye.
care. Bye.
That's Leila with always something on her mind to say, important stuff that she's got going on, and going on with important stuff going on this planet. And yeah, there's so much going on. I need to get a little bit of feedback here from our man, where's our man here, Supremo Canyon. Where are you, Supreme? Why aren't you here on my favorites? Okay, where oh, here he is. He's always like hidden. Let's see what Supremo, he just jumped on the comments.
Hola, amigo.
Hey, Supremo, ¿cómo estás, amigo?
Oh, so far so good.
Good. Okay, so riots, what's your input on that?
Organized. It's coordinated, obviously. I think it's obvious. It should be obvious. This isn't some grassroots thing.
Yeah, this is definitely not a grassroots thing.
Yeah.
Before we jump into the riots, okay, we get a government plant, a governing body for the people by the people. We impose our number one thing we're going to impose. We're not going to talk about pipelines because we couldn't care less. We're not going to talk about a lot of things. All we're going to talk about on the podium is seizure of illegal owned property via funds that cannot be proven to be legal, right?
Sure.
We could seize a ton of property and auction it off back to the people, for the people to return to their neighborhoods and cities.
Yeah.
And we could get 90% of the country to follow that. But why is it that they'll either try to kill us or not give us a podium or not give us a ballot, our names on the ballot? Why?
Well, I think you know the answer to that, because everybody past a certain level on that pyramid of power is involved in all of this. That would take them down.
Yeah,
you're
right.
It wouldn't get support, and obviously corporate media in Canada wouldn't go for it. If this kind of thing was the subject of an investigation by an alternative media source like True North or The Rebel or something like that, okay, they might bring a story forward. I mean, they've brought lots of stories forward, but it's just a matter of it's going to have to be something where you can file a lawsuit and crowdfund the money to do it, and it would have to go all the way to the Supreme Court of Canada. And there would probably be violence and intimidation to the people who are putting it forward.
Right.
We just don't have a mass grassroots movement. The closest we had in this part of the country was the reform movement in the late 80s, early 90s, and that did sweep Western Canada, and it was solid green until Harper gained control after the 2000 election, the Canadian Alliance Party, and made an agreement with Peter Mackay to form. Take progressive conservatives and the Reform Party and turn them into the Conservative Party that we have now. So it would be a step-by-step process to do it again. And I mean, it's already obviously burned out once already. The problem is that the power bases are in Quebec and in Ontario, and most of that 405 corridor is solid Liberal. It's just going to be very difficult. You're going to have some major catastrophes happen in downtown Toronto and in the surrounding area. You're going to have something sufficiently traumatizing that people are willing to vote for something else. This might do it. This year, I have trouble imagining that if they forced an election, because it is a minority government, that the lay of the land would be the same as it was last year. I think that you would see some changes, but you'd need a pretty strong law and order message. You'd need a financial accountability message. We've got a $250 billion deficit. It looks like we're going to run this year in Canada. Like our national debt is going to increase by 50% or something. It's just some outlandish number. And that's once they turn the key back on the economy and we see what the actual damage that's been done. Everything's shut down. It's not a depression yet, right? Everything's shut down. We won't know what the real damage is until we try to get this thing going again and find out exactly what's working and what isn't. So there's going to be more radical politics. There needs to be more radical politics, but I'm hoping that this will embolden some people in the Conservative Party to either say screw it and go with someone like Bernier, or start demanding a harder line from the leaders that they do have there.
Okay, let me throw something out there. So now let's jump hard on this protest. So we got protests from coast to coast. Okay. They are announcing, this and that, and the media is doing a great job with all this helicopter footage and all this stuff and all these great resources to show the world that America's mad and they're not putting up with it no more.
Yeah, you betcha. Well, what else is new? It's funny. Someone on Twitter mentioned today, we've got a rocket putting U.S. astronauts into space, and we have cities burning all over the United States. Basically, it's 1968 again. And it's the same. It's a lot of the same issues from that time that have never been resolved and probably never will be. This insistence that everyone just get along and love one another when they're not equally applying justice.
That's right.
Is just a recipe for more of this.
Yeah, get this.
But most of this is people that have been bussed in from out of town to really get things teed up and rolling.
Social imbalance, and you got
social imbalance.
Yeah,
and the media obviously playing their part.
And they got that mayor from Minnesota, or one of the guys there. I'm not gonna throw that out there, but I'm gonna say like one of the higher level city councilmen saying that a lot of people that were arrested in some of the bigger riots were from out of state.
Absolutely, yeah, it was completely coordinated. They usually are. These things disappear from the news cycle so fast. I remember in late 2015 when there was a sniper in downtown Dallas that wound up killing 6 or 8 cops before they finally took him out. They have assets that I don't know if they're MK Ultra or something like that. Okay, but obviously there are people that just get mad enough that they decide they're going to take matters in their own hand. This kind of thing happens on a regular basis. A lot of these mass shootings, I think, and some instances of sabotage and random snipers and things like that, I think are people that have decided they're going to take their shot at ginning up some kind of, nationwide revolt. They just it just never comes to anything. It just winds up being a story on page 3 of some lone wacko taking out his rage on somebody. But no, I think there's people constantly trying to throw matches into the pile of gasoline and get it to go off.
So what's the end game that the people on the ground are hoping to expect from this?
You mean the people participating in the riots? Or
that's correct. Yeah. What's the demands? What's the end game? Are they want justice against the police? Do they want because I've been watching a lot of videos that have surfaced of black police beaten up and putting other black people or black citizens in these headlocks and these things. It's not. I think it's just I don't know. Go fill it in.
This is all about the 2020 election. That's all it is. You've got the Obamagate hearings, Senate hearings are beginning next week. You have the 2020 election coming up. This mass lockdown for this COVID thing is not producing the desired result. And so the people that are sending these agitators, are using it to burn a bunch of cities, and they probably hope have a large body count, or force the military to come in and intervene and really start piling up the bodies. This is about the 2020 election. If that sounds outlandish to anybody out there that thinks I'm a conspiracy theorist, I want to actually take you back to 1968. In early 1968, We in the United States, they believe they had a fairly stable situation in Vietnam that year. And then in early during the Tet Festival, I think it's the Vietnamese New Year Festival, the North Vietnamese Army and the Viet Cong launched a massive assault all over South Vietnam, and there were cameras rolling everywhere. And these supposedly stable areas were overrun. There was atrocities in downtown Saigon. There were all kinds of terrible things happening, and there were some areas where U.S. Marines were under siege for weeks or months. And you may say, okay, what does that have to do with the election? Well, the North Vietnamese leadership understood that it was an election year, and they understood that their principal goal, of course, was to get America out of Vietnam so that they could reunite the country. Because to them, it was a civil war. It wasn't communist versus anything else. So they timed it just right. And the reality on the ground is that it was a disaster for North Vietnam. The Viet Cong were virtually wiped out as a paramilitary force. North Vietnam took enormous losses. They didn't win a single battle. There might have been a few local areas where they overran advanced American positions, but by and large, they were absolutely slaughtered. Militarily, strategically, or tactically rather, it was a complete defeat. Strategically, there was all kinds of footage of U.S. soldiers overseas under constant danger on the 6 o'clock news.
Yeah.
And it achieved the desired effect. You had demands for, widespread demands to end the war, to pull U.S. troops out, and it did help. I believe it helped. It encouraged LBJ to step down and not run, and it enabled Nixon to run on a peace platform.
Yeah.
So you see something similar happening here. If the law and order candidate is shown to be unable to maintain law and order, and the economy does not start up again properly, which of course has been Trump's main policy platform, then he, the hope is that it will turn into a race issue, because they are losing a certain amount of black votes. I don't think that they're losing as many as the Republicans are kind of hoping they are. But it is, I think the hope was that it was going to solidify a power block for the 2020 election. Right. I think this is all about the 2020 election. It's about the previous faction regaining the White House from the one that is there that they want gone so badly. So that's what I think it's about. And if you look at it that way, it is, in a way, an attempt to regain the initiative, and politically, because the political initiative is the only thing that matters, right? They want the White House back so bad they're willing to do anything for it, and we've seen that. We've seen that for 3 years. There is definitely two factions fighting here. They're like I've said before, American politics is nonstop war, and it has been since the country was founded. Okay, it's not.
I think it had 3 years. 3 years of no wars of the time the country's been founded.
Yeah, well, in military terms, yeah, but in politics, of course, is to turn the Clausewitz quote around. Politics is war by other means.
Man, whatever happened to swords to plowshares, man?
Well, we have to share a planet with people who don't want to share it with us. They want us gone, and I mean, that's usually how it is. You've got one faction or multiple factions that are fighting over the golden goose, and a peaceful reconciliation of any kind is not possible. And an armed Mexican standoff kind of situation is the best you can hope for. That's just the way of the world.
Well, we got this thing that's going from unwo.org. Let's take our planet back. About the United Nations New World Order Project is a global high-level initiative founded in 2008 to advance a new economic paradigm, a new political order, and more broadly, a new world order for humankind, which achieves the UN's global goals for sustainable development by 2030. And the happiness, well-being, and freedom of all life by on Earth by 2050. 10 billion people, 10 billion happy people by 2050. Here's the problem, Supreme. This would work if we were in an planetary. Here's the article, guys, on the article scan. This will work if we're in some sort of interplanetary delegations with other planets and we have to have a representative to represent our planet. But this is not the case. Who are we taking our planet back from? According to them.
Well, that's a good question. I think it's those evil nationalists, those tribalists that maintain all of these artificial boundary lines drawn on the Earth's surface. I think is their perspective. If suppose we were offered a part in an interplanetary alliance and we had to decide who we were going to get to send to be the representative of Earth, do you not think there would be a titanic war over that?
Oh, big time.
Something that important? There'd be an ocean of blood, absolute ocean of blood. Like, no, we're talking about human beings here. That's not happening. The return of the Messiah, okay, is not going to bring peace. I know that a lot of my fellow Christians don't believe that, but even after 1,000 years, there's going to be a big war at the end of it. Like it's going to be maintained by force. Most people will happily go along with it. Well, we don't have a situation like that yet. So no, it's human beings. Might makes right. Law of the jungle, especially at the international level. And the UN is so friggin' corrupt anyway. They don't even hide it anymore. They say New World Order. You'd think they'd invent a new phrase by now. They probably understand better than anybody else that phrase just makes a lot of people angry and very, very truculent, very unwilling to participate in something like that because they understand what it means for them. Right. No, it's not. Something like that's not going to fly. This is an attempt to influence the result of the 2020 election. The most powerful nation in the world has at least two factions that are struggling over the White House. And I think the one that got kicked out was very close to enacting very bad things.
Yeah.
Because we
were looking at war in Iran, and we were looking at war with Russia, potentially war with all kinds if the other party got in.
Absolutely, definitely. You were looking at all kinds of war continuing. There's no question that war is part of their plan. They stir up wars at every level in society, and there's been groups doing that for thousands of years. Agitation doesn't take 10% of the population to participate. All you need is a well-funded 1% who can blend into the population and can create a negative influence and strike the right targets at the right time. So, I mean, the whole idea of a vast conspiracy ruling the world is not that far-fetched if you understand that the number of people involved to pull it off does not need to be vast. Mm-hmm. Right? And you have blackmail, and you have the threat of death, and you have the promise of whatever you want, whether it's money, whether it's sex, whether it's whatever it is, all of the things that make people do bad things. That by itself is enough to keep people in line to follow orders and do what they do. How would you get a bunch of people who basically are unemployable most of the time to get into a bus in one state and drive all the way over to another to get out and start throwing rocks and facing off with the cops and setting cars on fire? And I don't even think they're professionals. They're just motivated.
Yeah.
And they're mostly motivated by money and whatever strange political ideology they may have.
$200 and a Taco Bell dinner.
That's right. $200, a Taco Bell dinner, and a chance to go out and have a chance to get yourself killed so that your girlfriend will think you're cool.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. I mean, there's lots of LARPers out there, and this is an opportunity for them to LARP, and they know that the cops aren't going to shoot them. They know that, especially if they're operating. Most of these riots are happening in blue cities.
That's correct.
So they're not even good allies, are they?
No, definitely
no, they're not. No, they definitely don't care about the average Democrat voter because they know the mayors and the governors of those states. They're not going to do anything. They're gonna call for peace and harmony and understanding and all the rest of it, and that's going to be it.
Okay, I got the World Debt Clock open here next to me, and Raven brought it up earlier, so I wanted to discuss $25,713 billion in debt. This is the U.S. national debt. They're not making anywhere near in revenue that's going to offset what they're spending. We know that already. Now, could this maybe trigger some sort with these riots? I say that loosely in quotations, riots, and all this other stuff that's happening. Could this maybe loosely, like Layla asked, trigger some sort of massive civil war where the people with the real guns and ammo stand up and say, you know what, it's over? Like what do you think?
I still don't think that that's going to happen right away. And my reason for that is because, yes, Americans have hundreds of millions of guns and trillions of rounds of ammunition. It has not succeeded in stopping any of the moral or civil or financial breakdown of the last 100 years. None. Absolutely none. I can think of one instance I remember reading a year after the end of World War II, where there was one county in Louisiana where there was a very crooked political machine that had control of the county house. Okay. And there were these veterans that knew these people, and they'd been doing it for a long time before the war. They actually got their rifles and went down to the county seat and demanded a recount and got them thrown out.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
one time. That's one time. The guns, the people trying to take down the United States through division and all of the things that they've done, they're fully aware that the American public is heavily armed, and they're fully aware there's nothing they could do to defeat them.
Unless they ban well, they're going to have to abolish the First Amendment, the freedom of speech. So then once the freedom of speech gets eradicated, then they could ban the guns, because there's no rule number 1 before they try to, after they go for the guns, right?
Yeah, well, the guns create a boundary, right? This far and no further. There's only so hard that you can push your people. So what did they do? Well, they started the 60s, the social upheaval of the 60s. Most of it was engineered. It wasn't spontaneous. It may have been a reaction to relatively repressive upbringing in the 1950s. In the 1950s, and the 1950s happened because of the 1930s and 40s, because people had been through enough insecurity and they wanted some law and order and some peace, right? So that's part of that. But for the most part, it was just tinder for the right match. Right, but the whole hippie thing, the whole free love thing, the drug culture, the infiltration of the universities by ex-Stalinists, right,
and Che Guevara and his boys.
And Che Guevara and his boys were being glamorized by the New York Times, like most communists, including Stalin, for that matter. Right, you had the second wave feminism, which coincided about the time that they went off the gold standard, so the debt began to skyrocket.
Well, they had to, because they needed to go to war.
Well, yeah, and as wages began to be depressed. Yeah, there was actually a lot of very conservative women at the time that were objecting to it, because they knew that women could possibly at some point be liable to register with selective service, like the 18-year-old men were. Right, and they didn't want that.
No.
So there was a double standard there, because they were considered fully equal, and yet they were not liable for military service. Well, that was a point of friction, and it remains one today. There were a lot of ways that you can divide a society and destroy it without ever engaging armed citizens on the street, and
without even shooting one single shot.
Without a shot being fired, exactly right. Plus all the degeneracy that's gone on since that time. And if your politicians are blackmailed because they got filmed on Epstein Island or wherever, they're in your back pocket. I mean, most of the people, these really crooked, venal politicians, the ones that have been in power for 40 plus years, a lot of them come from organized crime families, and a lot of them were engaged in this kind of stuff, and they get rich on a congressman's salary. That should not be possible. So obviously they're up to their neck in it too. And past a certain point, it becomes self-reinforcing. If you're in a position where you're able to influence policy for your benefactors, then you're going to look after them. You're not going to give them a reason to pull out the dirt they have on you and destroy you, because you're useful to them. So in that regard, it's a Mexican standoff too. It's not just the Illuminati, or the Rothschilds. Theft and graft and corruption and blackmail and temptation can happen at every level of society. It happens in extended families, for crying out loud. Like, you don't need a conspiracy. to do all of that. I'm not saying there isn't one. Okay, there's probably several, but it's just human nature. I mean, we're dirty, nasty, sinful creatures, Mike. We're susceptible to all kinds of flaws.
We're so easily swayed.
We're easily swayed, and when you deal in large numbers with mass media, the collective IQ of the crowd drops to single digits. Look how that really well. That was Paul Joseph Goebbels' opinion. You know, when you're dealing with the mass of people, then as long as you direct the narrative, you can create mass movements, and people will lose their minds. They will go along with it. You know, I mean, Trumpkins, obviously Trump supporters get accused of that all the time, but you know, it's true of a lot of groups.
Blink Bill just threw something in the comments. Why do you think they legalized weed all of a sudden? They want to pacify the people. Canada the docile.
Yeah, Canada the docile. It's more Canada the smug. You know, like we live up here above the 49th. We don't really get involved in too much stuff. You know, our taxes go up and regulations go up and stuff, but we just kind of shrug and find a way to work with it. And we have such a vast array of natural resources that we can peddle to the world to maintain our standard of living, that if the taxes and regulations go up, well, no problem. Just produce more copper. Produce more.
No. You know what my favorite is? I'm just going to have to get a fourth job now.
There you go. Yeah. Well,
they don't say, wait, I'm going to have to work. I'm not going to work a damn fourth job. I'm already working just to put a roof over my head. Now I got to work a fourth job. I don't think so. Instead of talking like that, they're like, well, I'm going to have to find a fourth job now.
Yes. That happens a lot. But again, if you look at a place like Toronto or Vancouver, you know, what was your solution to the problem, Mike? It was to get the hell out of there.
Oh, real quick in a heartbeat. I want to raise a family, and I knew I wasn't going to do that in Vancouver.
Yeah, and this is the problem, is that when you have a market where the price of anything goes up past a certain point and the average person on the street starts to notice it, they don't go, oh, that's too high priced. That's not a good time to invest. They do the opposite. They run to buy it. Right? Every mania is kind of the same thing. It's people chasing the price as it starts to go vertical, and it becomes the crash becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy at that point. And that happens in just about any market. So yeah, people are working 4 jobs because they want to live in a certain area without really examining why they want to live there.
Just hit the nail right on the head. They're not.
The unexamined life, Mike. The unexamined life is not worth living, and just about everybody does anyway. And they spend their life on that treadmill without ever really sitting down for a minute and going, what the hell am I doing? This sucks. I'm never going to get ahead here. Right? But it's aspirational. Oh yeah, I got 4 jobs, but you know, I'm a baller living in, you know, downtown Vancouver, you know. I'm up there, and that's where all the pretty girls are, and that's where all the big deals are being done, and that's where all the excitement is. And why would I live anywhere else? And the idea is, well, you might have to go somewhere else to seek your fortune, right? But you're not going to make a fortune in a place like that unless you speculate heavily. And most of the time, people who do that lose.
We brought this to the table a few times. I'm going to bring it up one more time because it's already starting to make some sort of it's starting to set off some flags all over. Negative interest rates. Could this whole thing that's going on right now maybe a front to start dipping into negative territory? Because we're heading that way real quick in a heartbeat. So is the U.S. Right. England has already imposed it and discussed it, retracted it, brought it back, imposed it. And then last week I read an article that now they're actually taking it serious.
Well, you've got better financial experts on there than me, but I don't think any government issues bonds that with a negative face value at this point. I think they might go to 0 or 0.1%, or something like that, which is effectively the same thing. But the actual inflation rate means that they have a negative yield,
right?
In a case like that. So I think the most they can do is put interest rates at 0, and then they have a negative yield because of inflation.
Okay,
that kind of thing.
Because if they go to negative territory like Deutsche Bank has been doing,
Yeah.
People are going to start have to pay to hold their money in the bank, and that's going to cause a runoff on the system where people will start pulling their money out, but they're just going to go digital, so there's no money to pull out. So, am I far-fetching here? Am I reaching for the stars, or am I severely delusional, or could this be something that could throw in?
Well, I mean, where negative rates are concerned, I think they're just a phenomenon. They're just something that happens because rates get too low and people's are just trying to flight into some kind of safety, right? If you're in assets that are dominated in paper dollars, well, then they can print more paper dollars. You know they're not going to default on you in a case like that. So in a strange way, it's kind of a flight to safety. But the whole idea of getting rates that low and reducing banks' reserve requirements, and I would not be surprised to see stretching out amortization on real estate to 50 or 100 years at some point.
Or
I mean,
interest only.
Or interest only, yeah, which is just renting. But most people are financially illiterate in that regard. I mean, they'll wake up when you lose enough. And I think that's a good analogy for life itself. When you lose enough, when you hurt enough, eventually you get smart. Eventually you figure things out.
Right. Or when you hit financial rock bottom.
Yeah, exactly. You hit rock bottom and you realize not only that you can't go on because you've just simply run out of energy and you don't have enough sleep to work a fifth job, okay, or you finally realize this is going to kill me, and I'm doing this for nothing. This is not going to work. The other thing, of course, is insolvency. You reach a point where you literally cannot service the debts anymore, and your lifestyle is going to change suddenly. So you either file bankruptcy or you're going to have to relocate somewhere else. You're going to have to start looking beyond the geographical area that you were born in, or that you were expecting to live your big life in. Because let's face it, people don't live in built-up urban areas to live quiet lives. Mm-hmm. They go there for the big noise. They go there for the excitement. They go because Nickelback's in town, dude. Or you're, that's where all the chicks are. That's where that's where all the big parties are. You want to, every city has its notoriety, mm-hmm. right? And people go there to participate in it.
Right.
The only ones I think who really prosper from it, though, are the ones who got in early, the ones who've been there since the 70s or 80s, before the really big booms and building programs began. Everyone else, I think, if they're moving in, they're living that way, it's because they had large money they're bringing in from elsewhere. Hence our Chinese guests.
Let me throw you a curveball.
Okay.
Now that we are, we've been, for the most part, a privatized society, which is capitalism, right? More privatized. How long do you think it's going to take for it to become nationalized, with the amount of printing they're doing and buying out these companies in the stock markets, or bailing out these companies? Basically, they own them if they bail them out. Mm-hmm. How long do you think before we start seeing nationalization, as which obviously leads to socialism and communism? When do we see the nationalization of a lot of things? Like, when do we start seeing a nationalized airline, nationalized gas stations? When do we start to see this happen? Because a lot of these companies are going to suffer, like you said, when they turn the key back on the economy. I see a lot of things become nationalized, in my opinion.
De facto nationalized, yeah. I think that to be nationalized just before a monetary collapse, because there's no reason for government to print new money to go out and buy assets that already have a negative yield or are basically bankrupt.
Right.
So at that point, they're throwing the kitchen sink at the situation, trying not to devalue the currency, trying to avoid a currency reset, or just trying to keep the same schmozzle going on just a little bit longer for the benefit of the people on the inside. They absolutely will run it to the wall. They will run this thing until the wheels fall off. And the best thing that Mr. and Mrs. Average, like folks like us, can do is just hide your assets as best you can, and just stay the hell out of the way, because it's starting to accelerate. It really is starting to accelerate.
Do you see neo-feudalism kicking in, where they just take it all?
Well, even a place like Canada, That would be tough to do.
Okay.
There's, 40% of homes, for example, in Canada are owned free and clear.
Mm-hmm.
The government isn't coming to take those. You want to start a civil war, you do something like that. It's going to be a matter of people walking away from the homes. Well, if there's no one living there or they're just squatting there, well, if the government to take ownership of it, no one's going to complain because there's nobody there, right? They're going to have to try to sell these assets. They're going to have to try to sell them at reduced prices, which means that somewhere between the one event and the second, you've had your monetary reset and a devaluation. Otherwise, the government is just eating more losses. And of course, the government can only print so much because they have to sell bonds. It's all based on debt. And they can only raise taxes just so much before the economy starts shutting down on its own. So people will just simply flout. They'll just disregard the regulations. There'll be a barter system. There was lots of it in the early 90s when the GST came out. Once growth began to really take over and the government's finances stabilized, because they were in horrible shape then too, almost as bad as they are now. We're talking 30 years ago, where the dollar was worth more. Okay, people find other ways, and now you have alternative monetary instruments like the cryptos that didn't exist then. Mm-hmm. So they're going to be popular. It's now all the government has to do is seal off the gateways for you to take that crypto and turn it into the national currency. But if they want to get money to the economy, they may even relax that. Mm-hmm. They'll find a way to get ahead of that parade. They always do. I mean, all they know how to do is kill, steal, and destroy. So,
So we got Mike Banks in the comments, says they are on the brink of civil war. Mike Banks is saying that they're issuing a national emergency in some states.
Well, the United States has been in a state of emergency since I think the beginning of April. So Trump has total control over everything right now.
So the National Guard gets called in a state of emergency, right?
Yeah, it can. Yeah, if the mayor of a city asks the governor to send in the National Guard, then the governor can send in the National Guard. It's not a universal thing. There are certain guidelines, there's certain tripwires that have to be activated in order to justify that. Mm-hmm. And in the case of the 500 that went into Minneapolis the first or second night of the rioting, they were in there, 500 of them, and then they backed out. So either they were hastily deployed without proper riot gear, or the governor told them, pulled them out for ostensibly political reasons. The mayor of Minneapolis is saying that he hasn't intervened because the math doesn't support it yet. I don't know what that means, other than he hasn't gotten the political effect that he wants from it, because he's a diehard blue Democrat from New England. He was parachuted in to be the mayor of Minneapolis.
So we got footage here coming in live from Louisville, Kentucky. It looks pretty clear. Everything looks pretty clear. It is late at night. We got Memphis, Tennessee. Still a little bit of movement here at the bottom. Some protesters still out and about on the streets in Memphis, Tennessee. But it looks like, I don't know, this big unsettledness, I think, is only in some major cities. I'm not seeing, I don't know. What do you think, Supreme, honestly?
Well, I mentioned the Tet Offensive, right? Everyone is watching TV, and they're watching the riots and these blazing buildings and the sky lit up with smoke and flames and helicopters overhead. And, oh, my God, America is disintegrating into civil war. America is on fire. It's the end of days. 3/4 of the population of the United States is watching this on TV, too, or on the internet. Mm-hmm. They're not hearing any gunshots. They're not seeing any helicopters. There's nothing happening in most of America. It's an enormous place. It's an entire continent. It would be like Vancouver and Toronto being shut down because of riots, Mike. How would that affect everybody else in the country? It wouldn't at all. Some would be cheering it on, frankly, or wondering why it took so long, because there's such badly run places. But no, most of it is happening in blue states, in blue cities, which have always had racial tensions. They've always had financial issues. Most of them are teetering on bankruptcy now as it is. Mm-hmm. And I think the Trump administration has made it plain that they're not going to get any federal money. So this, in so far as this thing was coordinated, I think they did it in the areas where they had control, so that they could decide whether they were going to send the police or the army in. Apparently, there are about 10,000 National Guard that are heading to Minneapolis now, because I'm not sure, there's probably somebody on here better informed than I am, but I think Trump has actually pulled out the Insurrection Act. I think he is actually calling the game now.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's the case, yes, the 101st Airborne and the 82nd Airborne will be in Chicago and Detroit and Los Angeles, just like they were in the 60s.
Yeah.
And
well, the
this
police
will,
got
and this will-
overwhelmed.
this-
They just couldn't handle it.
well, yeah, you had mass protesters coming in from outside of these urban areas, and obviously, when you get some kind of excitement, the board and the less law-abiding in that area are going to take it as an opportunity to go and get themselves a TV, right, or a new Nintendo game, or go break a few windows and feel like a radical. For
Michael
a while.
Jordan shoes.
Michael Jordan shoes. Hello, yeah, the new Nikes. Yeah, Foot Lockers and Waffle House getting raided. Well, that's revenge. And the stupid thing is, it's all for the death of a guy who may not even be dead. I mean, they're sent the coroner they sent in to conduct the autopsy on George Floyd was the guy involved in. I think he was involved in Epstein's autopsy, and I think this guy actually goes all the way back to JFK. Don't quote me, but this guy is the guy they call in when they want a report to read a certain way. I saw last night some guys on 4chan had actually found this guy, and he worked as a porn star when he wasn't bouncing at the same club that this cop worked at. And this cop worked at the same club for security for 17 years.
Yeah.
These two guys, at least they may not have been buddies, but they at least knew of each other. And this cop didn't just live in Minneapolis; he also has a house in Orlando. So he's doing pretty well for having a policeman's salary.
Yeah,
So,
there's a lot of underlying things happening with that too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. This is an FBI matter. I think you're going to find that a lot of the people that were involved in this particular drama weren't who they were represented to be on television. And in the end, that's what you'd expect in an attempt to really start a nationwide, a hit. But I look at it as the Tet Offensive. I think that this, in some ways, is an act of desperation. I don't think this is the beginning of the New World Order. I don't even think this is the beginning of the downfall of the United States, because most people seeing this on their TV or watching this happen on the streets are pissed off and demanding to know where the hell the National Guard and the Army are. They're not saying, yeah, we need to burn down the country. And 3/4 of the population of America is watching it on their TV just like we are.
Yeah.
It's not. This is going to be off the news cycle in a month. That's my hot take, guys. It's not going to be civil war. They don't have the guns for it, and the average man and woman, that have their Second Amendment AR-15 sitting beside the bookshelf, they're not even involved in this yet.
No.
Okay, so yes, it's a big picture. Yeah, there's a lot of evil people that want to take our rights away and stuff like that. This is. Yeah, it's birth pangs. I'd go with that, and I know what you mean by that. Definitely. I mean, there have literally been earthquakes all over the world too. There's all kinds of funky stuff going on. Yeah. Is it the end? Is the end of the end days or something like that? Well, there's times like this. Those pictures of flaming buildings give you apocalyptic visions.
Of course.
Okay, but most people outside of Europe and Asia were watching newsreels of World War II. They never heard a shot fired in anger.
Nope.
And most of the people that served in the militaries, other than obviously the losing countries where things got desperate, a lot of them never heard shots fired in anger either. But you certainly saw a lot of destruction, right? The people who were in the middle of it, yes, it was very real to them. It still wasn't Armageddon. It's a big world. It's a big world. For something to erupt all over the world all at once, I would be thinking about it then. But America is an enormous place. There's 50 states. You got trouble in about 12 of them, and whoever financed it has dumped a lot of money into this. So, and the timing, seeing how close we are to the 2020 federal election, someone is pulling a General Giap strategy. This is a Tet Offensive.
Yeah,
that's how I see it.
All right, Supreme, we're approaching our third hour, and I'm falling asleep, buddy. No pun intended on that. I'm really tired.
Yeah, no worries.
It's our third hour, Supreme. I appreciate you coming on and making a difference for the show.
I do what I can. I'm looking at the world from behind this face and these eyes, and just telling you what I see, guys. It's it doesn't mean I'm right. I'm like everybody else. I don't have a single opinion that I think is wrong. I'm sure you're pretty much the same. So it's great to talk, Mike, and great to interact with everybody.
We'll talk through the week, buddy.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's link up soon.
Oh, for sure. I'm going to be open Saturdays now going forward.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, I'll take the first decent weather opportunity to go over. We'll hang out. I'll bring some cinnamon rolls, and we'll solve the world's problems.
Okay, brother. God bless.
God bless. Good night, everyone.
Take care. All right, guys. That's pretty much a wrap. Guys, don't forget to be part of the channel if you can. If you can, guys, don't forget to subscribe. Let me go to article scan here. Be part of Mike in the Night right here. Here it is, guys. Don't forget to set your reminders for the future. If you guys want to call in the show or be part, we want more first-time callers. Don't forget to join or buy something on Teespring. The links are up top here if you want to. And I'll give you guys my Facebook if you want to send me messages. I do try to give my time to everybody as much as possible. It's just really tough. Running a family and stuff, and a family, big family. And and guys, don't forget to check out wildgamesports.com. If you guys want to if you guys like to hunt and fish, check out wildgamesports.com. It's actually worth the time, believe me, it is. Let me know what you guys think. This is it, Mike in the Night. Let me play our anthem, our Mike in the Night anthem. Where the heck did that anthem go? It's always on my desktop. And it always gets, like, thrown around here like a rag doll. And everything gets thrown around on my desktop, which is really sad. And I'm not... Where did you go? Ah, there you are. I don't know why that opened like that. Here we go, guys.
Gemini King, Mike in the Night, and the Gemini crew.
Ooh! Talk about the world,
'cause you're here with us tonight. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Mike it through the night, you're here with Mike in the night. Let's just talk about the world, give this page another curl, 'cause you're here with us tonight.
Remember, everybody, take care. And if you can't take care,